chunk there from PYL. He's going to try and farm up. Death Sentence does connect, and Last Boy goes in. That's an early flash away from PYL. Sia's going to connect. There's that 2-second stun. Imp is going to throw out
really early teleports.
That's double teleport.
Yeah, they're going to go in now, and up PYL's getting a move back. Dyrus moving in. First blood to TSM. Not gets enough. Godby exhausted, going to be chased down. LGD, though, they've already lost one. Last one. He's going to go in. 2 kills for TSM, but Imp gets the trade kill.
How much can he get back?
Wild Turtle now, maybe the next one.
Not over yet. We do see him trying to chase. Wild Turtle going to get some heal from that Harvester of Sorrows. 2-1 in the first fight. That's Jin's head. And the rest of RNG saying, yes, Mr. Uzi, we will do our best. Let's see if MLXG can deliver. Zaza and G2 are 3-1 up in kills. They've got a 500 gold lead. And Hyanan has been the recipient of both of those Lantern kills. If you look at the item differences as well, Perks has got himself the Luden's Echo, and here comes MLXG. He's still got that Rift Herald, but Ming's Death Sentence goes wide. The box goes down, Uzi jumps in. Here comes MLXG. Defensive flashes. Jankos has already killed Ming. Now Jankos is turning it back around. Defensive flash from Uzi. Teleport's coming down.
Comes Perks.
Not just to find out. Perks blows up RNG, and G2 win the fight.
It ends up being a 3-0 in favor of G2. It's the shield from Jenna to try and win the trades.
Flash available for Goong. Remember, he got caught down again. Is it going to be enough damage? Yes, it is. Absolutely. Goong can do one more shot. He will go down. Watch managed to pick him off to make it an even trade. The kill, of course, went to Watch in there, but the save had to come down. He did miss out on a lot of CS in that top lane.
Goong had some great dodges right there. He was able to juke enough. He was gonna live, but Watch kicks over going to secure his death and the trade.
Oh, it's not over yet. Yeah, Watch is still in there. We see that Loveling is sitting around the side. He's going to face check in.
Flanking in.
Watch gets the vision. Teleport comes around. The slow on Watch. In comes going around the side.
Standard lanes, Imp and PYL, they've done it before. It's not very often, but they're just going to play straight up 2v2 and try and honestly just outclass TSM's bottom.
A lot of respect from both Wild Turtle and Last Boy, but you can see Wild Turtle takes a chunk there from PYL. He's going to try and farm up. Death Sentence does connect, and Last Boy goes in. That's an early flash away from PYL. Sia's going to connect. There's that 2-second stun. Imp is going to throw out
really early teleports.
That's double teleport.
Yeah, they're going to go in now, and up PYL's getting a move back. Dyrus moving in. First blood to TSM. Not gets enough. Godby exhausted, going to be chased down. LGD, though, they've already lost one. Last one. He's going to go in. 2 kills for TSM, but Imp gets the trade kill.
How much can he get back?
Wild Turtle now, maybe the next one.
Not over yet. We do see him trying to chase. Wild Turtle going to get some heal from that Harvester of Sorrows. 2-1 in the first fight. That's Jin's head. And the rest of RNG saying, yes, Mr. Uzi, we will do our best. Let's see if MLXG can deliver. Zaza and G2 are 3-1 up in kills. They've got a 500 gold lead. And Hyanan has been the recipient of both of those Lantern kills. If you look at the item differences as well, Perks has got himself the Luden's Echo, and here comes MLXG. He's still got that Rift Herald, but Ming's Death Sentence goes wide. The box goes down, Uzi jumps in. Here comes MLXG. Defensive flashes. Jankos has already killed Ming. Now Jankos is turning it back around. Defensive flash from Uzi. Teleport's coming down.
Comes Perks.
Not just to find out. Perks blows up RNG, and G2 win the fight.
It ends up being a 3-0 in favor of G2. It's the shield from Jenna to try and win the trades.
Flash available for Goong. Remember, he got caught down again. Is it going to be enough damage? Yes, it is. Absolutely. Goong can do one more shot. He will go down. Watch managed to pick him off to make it an even trade. The kill, of course, went to Watch in there, but the save had to come down. He did miss out on a lot of CS in that top lane.
Goong had some great dodges right there. He was able to juke enough. He was gonna live, but Watch kicks over going to secure his death and the trade.
Oh, it's not over yet. Yeah, Watch is still in there. We see that Loveling is sitting around the side. He's going to face check in.
Flanking in.
Watch gets the vision. Teleport comes around. The slow on Watch. In comes going around the side.
Standard lanes, Imp and PYL, they've done it before. It's not very often, but they're just going to play straight up 2v2 and try and honestly just outclass TSM's bottom.
A lot of respect from both Wild Turtle and Last Boy, but you can see Wild Turtle takes a chunk there from PYL. He's going to try and farm up. Death Sentence does connect, and Last Boy goes in. That's an early flash away from PYL. Sia's going to connect. There's that 2-second stun. Imp is going to throw out
Really early
arrow.
teleports.
That's double teleport.
Yeah, they're going to go in now and uphill. He's getting a move back. Dyrus moving in. First blood to TSM. Mort gets enough. Godby exhausted, going to be chased down. LGD though, they've already lost one. Last one. He's going to go in. 2 kills for TSM, but Imp gets the trade kill.
How much can he get back?
Wild Turtle now, maybe the next one.
Not over yet. We do see him trying to chase. Wild Turtle going to get some heal from that Harvester of Sorrows. 2-1 in the first fight. That's Jin's head. And the rest of RNG saying, yes, Mr. Uzi, we will do our best. Let's see if MLXG can deliver. As it stands, G2 are 3-1 up in kills. They've got a 500 gold lead. And Hyanan has been the recipient of both of those Lantern kills. If you look at the item differences as well, Perks has got himself the Luden's Echo, and here comes MLXG. He's still got that Rift Herald, but Ming's death sentence goes wide. The box goes down, Uzi jumps in. Here comes MLXG. Defensive flashes. Jankos has already killed Ming. Now Jankos is turning it back around. Defensive flash from Uzi. Teleport's coming down.
Comes Perks.
Not just to find out. Perks blows up RNG, and G2 win the fight.
It ends up being a 3-0 in favor of G2. It's the shield from Jenna to try and win the trades.
Flash available for Goon, remember, he got caught out again. Is it going to be enough damage? Yes, it is, absolutely. Goon can do one more shot, he will go down. Watch managed to pick him off to make it an even trade. The kill, of course, went to Watch in there, but the save had to come down. He did miss out on a lot of CS in that top lane.
Goon had some great dodges right there. He was able to juke enough. He was gonna live, but watch kicks over going to secure his death and the trade.
Not over yet.
Yeah, Watch is still in there. We see that Loveling is sitting around the side. He's going to face check in.
Flanking in.
Watch gets the vision. Teleport comes around. The slow on Watch. In comes going around the side.
Standard lanes, Imp and PYL, they've done it before. It's not very often, but they're just going to play straight up 2v2 and try and honestly just outclass TSM's bottom.
A lot of respect from both Wild Turtle and Last Boy, but you can see Wild Turtle takes a chunk there from PYL. He's going to try and farm up. Death Sentence does connect, and Last Boy goes in. That's an early flash away from PYL. Sia's going to connect. There's that 2-second stun. Imp is going to throw out
Really early
arrow.
teleports.
That's double teleport.
Yeah, they're going to go in now and uphill. He's getting a move back. Dyrus moving in. First blood to TSM. Mort gets enough. Godby exhausted, going to be chased down. LGD though, they've already lost one. Last one.
It makes it just more lively for the most part.
Hello, hello. Yes, I am turning my face on. Wait, no.
Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone. It's welcome. This is the worst intro I've done on the stream. Welcome to the VOD reviews for the PCS Beyond Gaming. We're going through Worlds teams, and I have Clement Chu. For those of you who are not familiar with Clement Chu, what is wrong with you? So that's step one. Step two is Clement Chu, inventor of minions. I think that's your official title, right?
I wish. You know, they took that mechanic out the game, so it doesn't really matter anymore. I don't know what's wrong with me. You know, I chose a weird profession in esports, and yeah, I'm chilling in Taipei these days. Hopped off the LPL train, came back, and went back on the kind of slash LMS train, now the PCS train. And we're driving into Worlds, so you know I'm happy to bring a new team here. It's not just Flash Wolves and AHQ anymore, though in some essences they're still pretty similar from those two organizations. But you know, I think we've got a taste of Megabank Beyond Gaming with Dago at MSI alongside with PSG, and now I think it's time to introduce him proper in his own team setting.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I know about this team. I'm just letting you know going into this game is that it has Doggo. Also, it's owned by Denter, so that's I'm relying on you more or less to Okay, is that how that works? I think we're good. Nice.
Okay. So am I supposed to just go to your stream to watch the VOD?
I'm sharing with you now, I think, what will be on the stream. Yeah, with OBS virtual camera. So I think This is my first time using this instead of the other thing, so it'll be a fun time. But basically, how we do this, right, and how we have been doing this. Oh, I'm supposed to turn you up. Apparently, you're quiet, so I will do that.
Move my microphone closer to. Bump the gain on this thing.
Super. There we go.
Okay, I should be a bit louder.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah, louder.
Yeah. Okay.
So how this works is you kind of tell me what are the most important games for us to watch to get to know kind of Beyond Gaming and what we should expect from them at the World Championship. You get to get my stream viewers to try to be fans of Beyond Gaming if you want. Or you can flame them. You know, that has been actually a really popular choice. But that said, we've until now reviewed Rogue, HLE, Genji, and TL. So there's been a lot of flammable teams. Flammable, you know, highly toxic. Need fire extinguisher. So that's kind of been the strategy. But I think we have had some positive VOD reviews. And then ideally Clement, Juke, and drown out Kelsey. Thanks, very cute. So that's the goal here. I think when I've asked people to recommend me games to watch, and then they give me like their I don't know, their PhD thesis on the team, you know, so that's reasonable as well. Whatever you want.
Okay. So whenever I talk about teams, I typically talk about like what sort of archetype they play, and I think that's really important because having an archetype in mind really saves on efficiency in practice. It allows you to channel your resources, etc., etc. So if I'm looking at Beyond Gaming, I think their most important archetype is that they are they're I think they want to be a 1-3-1 team, but they're actually more successful as a team fighting team, just like a straight up protect doggo sort of team. So I would say the best VODs to watch to get like what they what they look like at their best is probably they're probably like their Aphelios first pick drafts coming in against PSG. I think those were the games that are most emblematic of their style. I think it was like blue side, maybe game 2 or game 4, especially in the first time they faced PSG. So they played 2 back-to-back series against PSG in the summer finals, and they won the first one, which was a huge shock. PSG this entire split domestically has only lost to Beyond Gaming, so kind of gauge of that power level is that they're the only team that can actually shake PSG. And just going back into the history about this team and kind of where they stand, this is a very, very young team. This is a team that's basically been built only this year. They bought the spot off of AHQ. AHQ is now, going full on into esports gambling. So, how organizations change, it's not very well received. But yeah, so they're kind of this young squad. They only have 2 members with actually any international experience. One is Liang, which some of you might know from Mad earlier on. They also did go to Worlds. They weren't very impactful, to be honest. They lost all of their group stage games. But Liang's one of them, top laner previously from AHQ. And also you have Dago, who just went with MSI. So very young team, very minimal experience coming into it. A lot of these players either played on HQ Fighters or in the amateur scene. The only other noteworthy player I think is Kino, who came from Alpha Esports and is generally regarded as like a top 3 support in the PCS. So that's kind of your team composition right here. And I'll go over like some of the players really shortly. You have Liang, who is basically known as true to the AHQ fighter name, more of a fighter player, very inconsistent. Had a big revival, I'd say, in spring split, and then kind of dipped back in summer. Was replaced by PK. Then they realized, okay, this isn't working very well.
Oh gosh.
Came back.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know PK. It's all good.
Yeah, PK is there, which is kind of interesting. I don't expect him to play much. PK is basically your pure weak side tank player, while Liang is more of the meta of Camille and Gwen. So he's had his up and downs, and he's kind of a known quantity to be absolutely honest, because since he's been playing so long. And yeah, it's just not terribly consistent, hasn't been great in the international scene, but I think domestically he can still overpower a lot of top laners with just good fighter play. Then you have Husha, which I think is probably the most improved player on this roster, and he's just an incredible youngster. Um, he was pretty much a Lilia one trick in spring, and he kind of carried over the sort of late game carry performance into summer as well. So you're gonna expect a lot of Viego from him. If Lilia's back in the meta, then he can certainly play that as well. And I say he's the most improved because PSG and not PSG, Beyond Gaming in spring were one of the slowest teams in the PCS. They averaged 34 minutes game time. They
Okay.
were excruciatingly bad at pushing advantages. So this split, it's very different. Their game time is down to 31 minutes, down 180 seconds, and a lot of it is
wow.
Husha being able to push into the enemy jungle when they actually have a lead. And yeah, he's also got a lot better first blood rate as well. So this is one of my, I think he's an emerging star in the PCS and just in general probably one of the best junglers we have. So he's kind of a bright spot there. Malan is interesting. um, he was originally playing on Berjaya Dragons, but they kind of kicked him off for Minji. And Malan was kind of in a 0-1 trick in spring. He is very collective in his champion choice. He can play a lot of things, and I think one thing I really credit him for is just pulling out Lucian at the very end of the split to surprise PSG and take down the win. So this is very clearly for me still more of a control mage player.
Okay.
But he can kind of switch between the sets, the Renekton's, and can throw some spice when needed. If you're looking at this roster holistically, I would say the two best players are Husky, I'm
Okay.
sorry, Husha and Doggo. Those two for sure.
Okay. That's interesting. You didn't even mention Husky being a starter, so.
Yeah. I just got the doggos in my mind, like Husha, Husky. They're all animals, and by the way, Husha is Tiger Shark. So
See, here I
it's
thought
kind of
you
confusing
were
there.
a cat person, so it's very.
With my dogs though, like when I get to pet them, it's like cats are they kind of do their own thing. Um, but yeah, that's my animal rant. And then you have Kino, who to be honest was kind of off a cliff this split. Congratulations, he became a father, but he did also mention that trying to balance everything has been a little bit difficult. But this guy's basically full on engage support. He was really notable as like a Rel and Recon player. But this split, I think his Nautilus and stuff were a bit of shaky, and they added a lot more Braum and Alistar to the mix and try to go through 1-3-1. So that's kind of the general framework of the team.
Okay.
Very young team. I don't think they're set in stone whatsoever. And I would say they try to play 1-3-1 a lot, not terribly successful. Split pushing in terms of like solo lanes, the general strength is very inconsistent. But I think what they make up for inconsistency is that they're very flexible in draft. They're willing to try a lot of things, and I think that was the main reason they were able to beat PSG. PSG were extremely dogmatic. PSG did not change track whatsoever. They're
Okay.
like, it's game 5. We're gonna play all of our best champions. We're gonna tempo or go home. This is it, ride or die. Even
Okay.
though the entire matchup was clearly about late game team fights, they were like, nah, we're gonna play Jin and Twisted Fate. We're gonna put Maple on low damage carries. We're just gonna do it because that's who we are. And I think that was a very boneheaded decision. And yeah, just Beyond Gaming were able to play the matchup a lot better by just going for more team fight centric, and they were able to swap around picks and just overload on damage. So they were running a lot of time 4 carries against 1 carry against PSG. That's kind of how they won. So
Okay.
I think this is a young team. It's not set in stone, but I think their coaching staff definitely they outcoached PSG. That's for sure. I don't think in terms of players they are the better team, but PSG for me are very are not very flexible, and they have a lot of archetype issues on their own hand. So I think Beyond Gaming was able to bounce between like a couple of modes and just kind of outsmart them that way.
Sounds about right. So if I wanted to get to know kind of the quintessential Beyond Gaming game. What game should we review?
I think the quintessential one is probably the Aphelios game against PSG.
Mhm.
Was that the blue side one? It's definitely one that. Oh yeah, the second game of the first series, that was the most quintessential one
Okay.
because you really see the contrast between how our top two teams operated in the PCS, and this kind of crosses over to PSG as well. PSG are a pure tempo team. They are ride or die, and I think a lot of times that actually bites them in the ass. Um, and this is why like PSG is kind of the old Flash Wolves, and this is why I think like Flash Wolves failed a lot um, against a lot of, I would say, European and North American teams when clearly, like behind the scenes, you were hearing the praise that Flash Wolves is going to be a semifinals team. Their players are insane, but a lot of times I think they draft themselves into holes, and this is a very clear indication of that. Where PSG are ride and die, they go Karma Olaf, pure Sinner comp, and Beyond Gaming are just like, we're just gonna take this slow. We're just gonna go We're just gonna make sure nobody dies, in the early game, and yeah, we're gonna steamroll you in the late game.
Sounds about right. So, I mean, I feel like that's a really common dynamic in among top teams, and I like variety. So I'm glad Beyond Gaming are coming to Worlds, but now I'm going to actually watch them play. So that'll be fun for me. I watched some of the finals, so it's not that I completely don't know them at all, but
Uh,
it is this will be a new experience for me. I'm going pretty blind. I actually did because I talked to Pyrotechnics today actually about something completely unrelated. So I got his Beyond Gaming rant as well, which I'm sure was not, and like I'm sure you both talked to each other about these teams, so it wasn't too dissimilar.
okay, cool.
Yep.
Uh, and yeah, we could look
Hmm.
at draft a little.
Yep.
The main thing here is that Beyond Gaming, we talked about Malan. He tries to play a lot of these tempo champions, but I don't think he's terribly good at them. So, in general, he's just gonna go for Rise when it's open and slow everything down. LeBlanc is basically a must ban for Beyond Gaming. I don't think
For
Mod has the
Beyond
strongest
Gaming or against Maple, I guess I should ask.
for Beyond Gaming just in general. Like
Hmm.
they ban LeBlanc against basically all the LeBlanc players. So
Oh,
it's kind of
okay. Sure. Yeah.
like a drafting loss for them, but in general they don't try to play mid jungle tempo. Their most important tempo point is actually bot lane for the most
Okay.
part. And this is something where I think Doggo has improved massively upon after playing with MSI. He talked about this as well. It's just about how you can communicate with the junglers and having a better sense of communication. He took that back to Beyond Gaming, and he actually even triumphed over Unified in terms of his laning stats. He's actually just the best laner in the PCS. So that's a huge thing to watch. For PSG, pretty standard here. Viego's a big pick for Husha as well, so you get a takeaway and you also get a power pick, kind of a 2-for-1 in this sense. And another thing in this matchup to notice is a very high priority in Camille bans. And this is something that I was talking about, like a just like ongoing, just kind of weak spot of PCS. Not PCS, PSG in general is that they even with right side counter bans, they're very uncomfortable with um with a split pusher going up against a Nabi. So you see throughout the series that they just kind of ban Camille over and over again.
Okay.
I don't think this should be the case when you have red side. Uh, but yeah, they do it regardless.
Yeah, so they banned Camille and Renekton. I'm assuming if your plan is to ban Renekton, you feel like a lot of teams will feel pressured to ban Camille if they think that they can't pick it right. So
Yeah.
how is Ziggs a thing in PCS too much, or because the Aphelios first pick is kind of rare unless you have a plan for the Ziggs.
So that's something we noted constantly
There
in
we
the
go.
PCS is that the Ziggs matchup
I have an answer.
actually has not been working out
Okay.
very well.
Mhm.
Especially against the Aphelios, what we see usually is like the Aphelios still able to push in early. And in terms of team fight impact, Aphelios is still the king. That isn't true for all regions, especially like some deaf games and stuff like that. But in the PCS, that has been true. And I think through both matchups, you can see the very high priority. Like if whoever gets the Aphelios kind of just wins and snowballs the matchup. So that's the general lay of the land here.
I would think that if you're trying to be like a 1-3-1 team, Ziggs is a really annoying champion for you. So that's why it's interesting to me. But I'm assuming that based on this information that neither of these teams are super high on the actual 1-3-1 execution. Skipping ahead.
No, PSG is not 1-3-1 whatsoever. PSG is they are a very, very pure tempo team, which is the things that they're good at is that they have synchronized roaming potential with Kaiwing, Maple, and River, and they also know how to overload map states, where I think a lot of teams don't know how extreme you can go. So if they have a small tempo lead, let's say going to the top lane, they cut your jungler off, they're willing to take that cross map. Like
Okay.
that, let's say they force your jungler on Raptors. Okay. They just force you out of River. They're on Raptors. River is then willing to make the rotation all the way to top lane, knowing that he has like a 5 or 10-second lead, and just take his mid laner Maple along with him, and they'll do a top lane dive, which is something that I think a lot of teams are not aware of. They're not cognizant of the fact that you can play overload map states to such an extreme degree, and they will often just beat you because of that extra seconds. So they're not about value. They're all about tempo. And I really want to contrast those two things because it's kind of a consistent thing throughout their loss against Beyond Gaming is that they will draft for a lot of pick potential, they will draft for a lot of single target crowd control, and they throw scaling out the window. So that's kind of PSG in a nutshell. I don't think they need to play this way given how strong their players are. But I think it's kind of like a Flashwolf syndrome, and I think it's partly because that my guess is that because they're scrimming against much tougher opponents for the most part in LPL and LCK teams, and they're not able to get away with a lot of laning things that they should be able to get away with, I think, all PCS teams, that they kind of tunnel on going this direction. Like, my honest opinion is if PSG or Flash Wolves, in the past for that matter, was just willing to play like a straight front-to-back teamfight comp, they would actually not lose to Foamvu Buffaloes. They wouldn't lose to teams like C9, Cloud9, and stuff like that. But they are who they are.
So this is gonna be interesting because I see the Rise Jace, right, priority, and it's with Aphelios mid versus 6. So if you basically should in a mid game map state, like the 6 teams should be able to just get the wave and like rotate. So that means that you're committing to fast plays, right? As Beyond Gaming, and I'm gonna kind of judge them on how they're able to execute that, or they're going to get to a point where they're always rotating first to objectives through sideline prio, and enemy team loses range advantage on neutral fights, and then they have Rise of Helios. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But let's see. And then the Olaf's last pick is interesting. I'm assuming this is just for the mid jungle 2v2.
This is pretty typical for PSG. They actually have a thing for Olaf a lot. This was kind of River's best champion career-wise. So they kind of default to this composition where it's mid jungle prio, you link up with Leona leaving the lane, and a lot of times they will actually just leave Unified in the lane by himself. So that's kind of how they gain their tempo. I think it's a kind of weird style of play. Like against LPL teams, I'm very worried about this. Because I actually feel like they get away with a lot of tempo plays because Unify is just that much better than his peers in the PCS. But I think in this game you get a couple of shots of that as well. So just talking about the game, I think for PSG a very important thing is level ones.
Okay, that's good. I've seen a lot of teams not level 1, so.
Yeah, the reason I say this is because PSG are trying to play tempo, but if you compare them to most LPL tempo teams, most LPL tempo teams can play from both sides of the map. PSG do not do that. They play from one side of the map and one side only. That's the bot side. So I think level 1 is very important for them. because they have to prevent verticals.
Yeah, I
Like,
oh, okay. So they're preventing vertical jungles on bot side. Are they okay with? Oh wow! Thank you, Munchables, for the gifted subs. Five subs for.
ooh,
Nice, thanks.
Yeah.
Basically, we've got the. I know that you are also kind of a top lane enjoyer, right? So what is your take on the Viego flex top into Jace situation on 11.15, which I'm assuming is
Uh,
the patch for playoffs?
yeah. Back in that patch, like it was kind of weird because usually you expect the Viego to be punished quite hard, but that's not what we've seen. Viego was actually able to survive lane. I'm not sure if it was the case in this game, but in general, like the matchup has actually been fine for Viego. Like we didn't really see that much
Okay.
um him getting punished all that much, and especially with gank potential. Like the thing about Jace is that he's really easy to gank with a lot of different matchups. The Kennons and
Interesting.
AD,
Okay.
especially Olaf and stuff like that. So I, I think technically, like you should expect Prio for Leon, but
Yeah, like
wasn't all that much the case.
I would just expect this guy to get destroyed, the Viego, like to be transparent,
Yeah.
by a good Jace player.
Uh-huh.
So interesting that I like that that's the thought process and that's what you think about because especially if you're playing like hard to bot side in this type of situation,
Mm.
I would just think that, goodbye Hanabi. Enjoy dying a few times in lane. Losing like stacked waves of Prio to juggle top ganks, but looks like Olaf is pathing up. Also
Mhm.
surprised to see like Jace losing Prio here. So I'm not judging Leon, but I'm kind of judging Leon. I'm gonna be honest right
You're judging now. Come on, you're judging. It's okay,
now.
okay. Like,
Yes. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I
So
think
for this
it's.
game, like
Mhm.
most of what I'm trying to see is like when the roams are going to happen for PSG. Like very clearly, they do not have a scaling advantage. Like even with the Ziggs, I still feel like left side's quite strong, quite a bit stronger. Um, so like what I'm watching for this game, mid jungle invade, and top lane snowball. That's what I expect. A lot of times Kaiwing will make early roams towards the top side. Even before Herald, like even if there's not like Herald pressure, he'll sometimes just go top
Mhm.
and try to get kills that way. So yeah, we're just kind of waiting around for that to happen. I don't expect anything to happen bot lane or elsewhere. Um,
Because
yeah, and,
so if you're playing for like ganks set up top, right, you usually have
mm,
to skip like camps, right, and rush the top setup so that the other jungler will be there first, right? Because if you're
mm,
playing for gank setup and you have losing 2v2 or Jace gets prio and can hit like level 2 or level 3, right? Then that's a oh god. It's on my screen. It's happening right now in real time. Um,
yeah,
then I think that's a situation where you kind of have to play a little bit. You have to take some more risk and make sure that you're not actually playing a 2v2. So it's interesting that you say that because this is like also my problem with the Gnar matchup, right? Where it's you're pathing to top to help your Gnar, but he's just gonna get dope and then you're gonna lose your entire top side. So he might not die because you're there, then you lose your camps, right? So it's a fun time. But so far, all we have is full clears. So top laners are living another
yeah.
day.
So usually with this sort of a setup,
Hmm.
like a couple like the fight situations you see coming in from PSG are they do contest like reds quite often. Um, and you're just seeing Hanabi getting destroyed here.
Yes. Okay. Liang's redeeming himself slightly. Okay. We're good.
Yeah, a
Hanabi
really
should.
good knockback.
Oh, come on. Come on, Husha. Let's go. Make this guy recall and cry. No? Okay, we're good. Drop your grop. The grop is not for you. It's fine. Okay, so we're Yeah, Hanabi is just allowed to get the wave, but he does have to TP back here, so that's not the worst. Or he's happy to just lose his creeps. That works too. We're fine with
Yeah,
it.
he's pretty happy with this, to be honest. And
Yeah, like he didn't get denied anyways. Doesn't have to TP. Isn't TPing back. And Jace is but Jace has Giga Timer if they want to do anything with it. But it's a Jace timer, so there's that. Also, Olaf can play off this top wave. I don't know why they're deciding to try to contest this dragon.
yeah, this one was very weird when we watched it in real time. Mon does get like a good chunk on Maple just because he has like the face check potential, and then the bot lane roams up here. So it's pretty normal from what we've seen in most of Felios versus Zig matchups in the PCS is that Felios actually starts getting wave prio throughout most of the mid game. And you know, I was surprised about this play because it was Olaf Karma, but they're still able to get the jump here
Yeah.
and get the kills. And this was super weird from PSG. I felt like PSG were
God.
like
Well, that was well
they
played.
felt like they should have gone, but River went in like like the timing was really off.
Yeah. Yeah, Husha
From PSG
also
side.
played that really well.
Mm.
But yeah, I think the oh god, and Hanabi TP'd as well. Oh no, this is so sad.
Yeah, look at River here. Just like, okay, I'm gonna roam up here. Malin has HP advantage. Maple has to instantly flash.
Yep.
Beyond Gaming have like a 3-man concave.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, that's depressing. I think like in this matchup, right, Ziggs is probably not too strong right now. Especially if and then of course you're rotating first with setup, which is like what we talked about in the draft phase. Just like, okay, I have Aphelios Rise and they have to face check us, which isn't as impactful right now because they don't have items, but still a factor. And then Husha zoning really well. Tanabe losing creeps to TP bots, so that's fun. Yay! Oh, also, by the way, this is another thing that I make people do is, do you have a word that you like that would translate well into a musical playlist? It doesn't have to be a music word. We've done beans and rice, and yeah. I use evokemusic.ai and they have some really interesting playlists, so I just make people pick a word.
Pick a word.
Yeah.
For a playlist.
Yes.
Like, what does the word have to be related to? Like
nothing in
Beyond
particular.
Gaming?
I mean, it doesn't have to be related to anything. People have chosen like beans and rice, and one of my favorite playlists is Clown Playlist. It's solid, good, old, reliable. So you can just pick a word pretty much, and there's usually a playlist. This only happened with Chronicler when he came on for Gen G, and he like struck out 2 words in a row, which was really that never had happened to me before. So there you go.
I want to use hope.
Hope?
I feel like, yeah, hopium. You know, I really want some hopium because that's what I feel for the PCS. I love my boys. They are so incredibly flawed, but there's so much potential there too.
I'm gonna lower the volume here.
The thing about Beyond Gaming is like going into play-ins. All they have to do is cheese 3 games. They can make it to groups, or they could do it the hard way and have to win 10 games. Like I think the maximum games like you would need to win something like 3-3. Yeah, you could take up to 10 wins to get into group stage, but that's a great thing about Beyond Gaming. Like we talked about them being like a team that can shift between the matchups.
Okay.
Quite well. So I think it makes them actually a quite formidable BO1 team.
Well,
I don't think they're great in terms of best of 5, just because their players are really inconsistent. But
you think they can
best
get
one.
out of groups? You know, they've got hope, or just out of play-ins?
I'll be honest. Like getting out of play-ins should not be that difficult for them.
Okay.
I think they're expected to make it out of play-ins.
That would be my assumption.
They haven't released like
but yeah.
No. Yeah, because like you can be 3rd in a group and still make it out of play-ins. So
yeah, yeah.
It's it's not terribly difficult. Like, they haven't released how they're gonna draw the groups, but if there is no group of death, where like 4 teams of the like supposed pool 1 go into the same group, they should in theory make it out. But I think it makes a huge difference on depending on how many games it takes for you to get out. Showing 10 games and showing 3 are gonna be
yeah.
be wild.
Well, we do have 220 Hope songs, so the stream viewers will get to enjoy the Hope songs while we talk about this Rift Herald, which...
Yeah, so I think this one's a do or die for PSG, to be honest. Like, they got off to a terrible start. They're on a timer. So, you know, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, they have to set this up correctly. And they should be looking to play more towards Hanabi's side. Like, their best case scenario is, you know, chase down Olaf with Hanabi reset. So that's kind of what they do here. But, you know, Leon's not going to fall for that. And they are going to wait for the 4v4 here. I don't remember exactly how this fight goes down. But a really tense moment for them. A lot of target selection can go wrong. And it does go wrong.
Oh,
I
gosh.
think.
Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, it's not the worst.
Oh, actually not bad. Actually
Yeah, not bad. It's like there's no way, because they ended up getting, right, because they allocated 3 to mid-wave, and then they had Leona get this flank angle. So if it did go wrong for them, I was going to be very, with Karma, Leona, Olaf having this kind of setup, I was going to be really unhappy. But they did engage onto Alistair, so, you know, you can see,
Yeah, it
you
was
can
a
see
little
it
bit
go.
dicey early on.
Yeah.
When we were casting this,
Uh-huh.
I actually really did dislike Beyond Gaming's move to aggro the Herald here. I felt like that was such a troll move. Like, this is do or die for PSG. You actually just sit around and you don't have to do anything. Like, all you need to make sure is like Nabi doesn't get kills, and you kind of win the situation. But I don't know. I guess they just thought they had such a big lead that they then handed it back to PSG. So this is something about Beyond Gaming that really shows their inexperience. I think for them, a lot of times they are... I want to say they don't read tempo particularly well. That's my general diagnosis of Beyond Gaming. The way they handled most situations in spring was they just sat back. They just sat back and waited until late game. And that's why they had such a long game time. They tried to step it up a lot in summer, but I think sometimes they go overboard. Like, this play for me was just kind of weird. Like, you just... Why would you even go up there? Like, he kind of knew that they were there. And it was like, yeah, I'm Alistar, I can check this. But, you know, level 5 Alistar and aggro...
Yeah, you're not even a level 6 Alistar. I mean, the other thing that's really awkward about this is just... It feels like both of these teams are just going to go to the neutral so far. And this is just one game, but it feels like both of these teams are like, yep, Dragon's up in 45 minutes, Jace is going to get his wave in here, and like they should have a rotation advantage like based on that, but probably the other team is still gonna try to walk in to contest this, right? So that's kind of, or, you know, Leon could stay top. That works too. One of those things. But whoever gets like first setup is probably gonna win some of these fights. Is my guess.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes. They also do have the rift that they can drop for this if they want. Because
I think for this one, Beyond Gaming isn't really trying to contest that much at all.
Good.
Which I think is a smart move. In all honesty, like they have Herald front, and you know, especially coming off of that, Karma's on a huge power spike at this point. She can just run you down. So,
because I was thinking,
for me, like this was okay.
Because I was thinking that Beyond Gaming, I was just assuming that both teams were going to contest because they both contested first Drake, they both contested Rift, and I also, if you get the top wave in 45 seconds before the Dragon, you should be able to rotate down. It's like pretty favorable for you, but. Okay, nice. I like that they're diving mid here.
Yeah, this is some vintage PSG play.
Vintage PSG Flash Wolves. You know, you have your support jungle, rotate mid, get the dive.
I really like what you see Kaiwing do as well,
Mhm.
because he just he just pops into the top brush and he scares the living shit out of Leon. And this is something they do a lot. Like there's just like small details. I think tempo teams, if you're trying to play tempo, that you should definitely know is like, hey, you got pinks in your side brushes, you just dip into them and you force the top side to either play defensive or you actually go up and gank them, which is like there's a lot of great PSG plays where what Maple does is just pure misdirection. Like he'll pop into the top wave and TP bot, or kill into the bot lane, which yeah happens a lot actually. Like he's at like 3 or 4 games where he does this. So yeah, it's just small good habits to have here, and kind of just getting caught.
Yeah. Both supports using cover from bot. Wow, Hanabi actually TP for that.
Oh my
That
God,
is
yeah.
that is interesting. That's very curious, but goodbye, Kaiwing.
Yeah,
Wait.
that was not great.
Wait. Why did Kaiwing die here? He should be
He
fine.
just backed on a ward.
Ah, okay, I see.
So you can see the PSG are definitely trying to just like start things. They're
Yep.
looking very aggressively. But I think there's a couple problems. Like if you look at their bot side, this is something that I'm really worried about when they go up against LPL teams, because they are so used to making high risk plays by roaming Kaiwing when their bot lane is not actually in a winning position.
So they hard side trade is what you're saying. It's like they basically play an arms race of we're going to accelerate one side faster than the other. But in this case, if you're doing that versus an Aphelios, you need to have a plan to deal with the Aphelios, and you lose both side lanes as the game progresses, or you should. In the 1-3-1 setup, so I don't necessarily think that that's for PSG kind of the play, right? To sacrifice bot, because you can't play around mid. You kind of have to just play for mid prio with Ziggs, but if Aphelios is really ahead, then that becomes harder.
Yeah, I like this is. It's a very weird macro system I think PSG plays in, where they accelerate into like first item mythic rush and to power spike team fight. Like it to me it feels so bad because as you were mentioning, opening up the map sometimes, especially against 1-3-1 comps, which is traditionally been like kind of Flashwell's biggest weak point. It really creates a lot of scenarios where PSG are forced to all in, and it's easy to read. I think that's the biggest problem with it. Like you can argue that in terms of the drafts or in terms of their play style, it fits perfectly, but when it comes down to high pressure games, especially playoff games, being apparent is a huge detriment. Like,
Okay.
yeah, a lot of times what teams will do is like teams that are aware of the tempo, they will just bait you. They'll just bait you with the support, stand around, wait for you to make really rush plays and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's the thing you see against a lot of Flash Wolves and a lot of like PSG games against international caliber teams is, especially I felt like that was so true at MSI, which is what RNG did, was that they just picked Braum and Morgana. And they just sat there. We're like, oh, you have to come in now. So we're waiting for you. We got the mat ready. Just please come into us.
So I think this is like that exchange that we just saw on the screen with like Rise Zin was interesting because it's like it is a very rookie type thing where it's like they're demonstrating, okay, we're actually ahead on this side, but they're not taking extra factors like if there's a rift trade, we're not ahead on this side anymore, and then the Zigzal being up. So like that kind of stuff is sort of what I would expect of a more rookie team like trying to play 1-3-1. So I liked that they kind of were like, okay, we're stabilizing and then we're playing super ahead on this side, but I was thinking the entire time, okay, this team's just gonna grab Rift, and then the tempo advantage they have is not there anymore, right? So, interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think Beyond Gaming are still generally in kind of like a void team fight and take what you get mode, which I think is actually like how you should play this one. The tempo swing here is actually quite nice from what they did right here, and
Yep.
Interesting plays. Huh.
Yeah.
Bait.
A bait on the bait and walking at Olaf Zix, you know? Sometimes that works out for you.
That's the thing about Doggo that I really love. Like, Doggo is, you can tell this guy's like a, like, I'm not sure if this is the case, but you can tell with his plays, it's like, oh, this guy has to be born after the 2000s. Like, that's how young players play, you know?
Yeah, of course.
He takes a lot of risks. I'll be honest, he's actually good enough to get away with most of it.
Though, of course, being born after the 2000s isn't even young anymore in esports terms, Clement.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry, that's my boomer mentality showing.
We're getting really old, okay?
Yeah, man, I was born in the 80s. Oh my god.
So was I. It's a oh god, it's a whole new world. Alright, so nothing happened on mid. We had 5 people showing on mid and nothing happened, so that was fun. I think so again, the prioritization of Rift Herald, if you're against a team where you don't have a ton of enemy team has like a ton of wave clear, is it's going to be harder for you to find openings to drop it. And then I think the early game, their Rift Herald shouldn't have been as impactful as it was, right? As well, like the first Rift, because like all 5 plates were up in all 3 lanes, but they still are prioritizing this objective, right? So that's, and finding openings to use it. So, but this is not a PSG VOD review. This is a Beyond Gaming VOD review. Just right now, I like this map setup, right? Again, they're ahead on one side. They're fine with kind of looking for clear. If they engage you, that's a little awkward. Okay, Doggo's experience is being tempered by the enemy Leona for some reason.
Yeah, that's just that's what I love watching about like young ADCs. Like whenever they see an opening, they'll just walk up on you.
Because it's like, because this is a situation where, okay, you don't see Viego on the map, right? And he just, if he does nothing, they're winning out in this map state because Jace is pushing here, and then he walks up to Unified, and Kaiwing disengages it. Obviously they know where Viego is, but you can also just kind of be in a situation where, okay, Viego's gonna come through mid and sort of threaten that. And I think it's fine. So I was definitely like some boldness from Doggo. I don't mind it though.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say like a lot of these things are actually kind of reactive as well, because he saw the satchel charge going down, and he's like, "Oh, you're trying to sneak my tower. I'm gonna instantly punish you for that." And I just feel like Unified a lot of times. Unified was kind of off this series, to be honest.
Okay.
He wasn't his cleanest self.
Would you say he's typically someone who plays like Ziggs, or not?
He plays Ziggs in a very specific fashion.
Okay.
Where I think Ziggs really fits PSG's play style, where they try to trade for you. Like there'll be a lot of times when he's alone mid lane, they're trading for one side of the map, and he gets to clear the other side. So it's just like, we forget about Ziggs bomb, and they just get like an extra tower trade into a power spike. So I would say Aphelios is still his best champion by far. But Ziggs is something that is, going back to archetypes, is something that PSG can rely upon quite heavily as well.
Alright, Viego's got wave and bot, so we can hard play for overloading top on this window if we want. So let's see how that, but it's not ideal, right? Because all bot camps are up. So you'd rather shift into bot side. In terms of Beyond Gaming, I feel like they have some agency through Jace lane, right? So they could actually contest that side a little bit. But let's see. What are ideal item specs for them to actually play?
So
I think they're pretty
this is
strong right
PSG
now.
seeing-
So
Yeah, the PSG see they have a 5v3 opportunity. They're just gonna go in and take it. I'm not sure how Beyond Gaming plays this, but
this should be, if it is a straight 5v5 and PSG are engaging into them in an open state, it should be winning, right? Because they are running at Aphelios Rise and losing some of their advantage. Whereas if they're like playing more patient on the mid wave and just poking, or with Jace like collecting bot wave, then that's better for them, right? I'd rather see them go like hard into top side and play for top tower on a window while Jace is pushing out bot wave, and then just sacrifice the Drake, but they engaged mid, so that happens.
yeah, I think they were looking to hard punt. I was actually quite surprised by the speed that they were able to rotate on that one. And it's interesting because I do see the angle that you're going for, where Beyond Gaming, you know, they just go pure push top, but at the same time, I almost felt like that play nearly worked out for them.
I was more saying PSG should like hard dip into top side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. PSG should if PSG like hard dip into top side and play for this top tower and this top side control. And I think that that's better for them than just like running at mid lane and engaging. Because I think Beyond Gaming reacted to that well. But, and they kind of dropped top wave for it, but overall I think just hard forcing mid with numbers when you can like force on one side is not as good. I don't know what your philosophy is on that.
So I just want to make it clear. You think that forcing one side when you have numbers is good or bad?
If you have a timer, right? I think it's good compared to like forcing on mid in the open, right? So taking control of like basically you walk into top side, take full control of that area, and then like choke them either out of mid or out of top, right? While Jace is pushing up bot like this and using that timer to do that, I think is good, right? As opposed to what they did, which was just like run at them in the mid lane. So this I think is interesting. I want to see this Baron setup better.
So PSG are low HP. Beyond Gaming take control of the Baron pit, and then PSG check, and they eat a ton of shit across the wall. So makes the situation a little bit more worse for them. And I think this goes back to the point that you were saying that they could have folded into topside a little bit easier. You know, obviously Doggo's not going to venture out in that situation when Viego is the extra member here. Yeah, and we do see kind of like the chain reactions happening here. Once again, PSG hard force.
And they're like PSG are playing to force on champions, right? As opposed to like if they are using Ziggs, they get like a fast timer to control a side, and then they control a side with Olaf. You have to like walk into Olaf Karma, and Olaf Karma just kill you, right? That should be how they're thinking about it, because they can't win through side lane. So they should just get like mid wave, and then they should get jungle control. Is what I'm looking for them to do. But because otherwise they just like at a certain point you aren't getting any sideline timers, right? Rise and Chase just win, so you have to push your advantage a little bit more for control. Otherwise you don't have timers, right? They just got that pick and they got nothing, right?
Oh god, oh that hurts.
Except for the dragon. I mean, they got the dragon, but it's kind of whatever, right?
Oh, they didn't even get that.
Oh, they didn't get that.
Leon actually steals it. Oh god.
Let's put it this way: they should have got the dragon, but they lose top wave, right? They could have used that tempo control to like force Rise out of top side, right? And then they get Baron control off of that. But instead they kind of all reset after getting the pick. Olaf tried to get the Drake, and now they're off tempo again because Olaf's recall is really, really late. So, this is not a PSG VOD review, sorry. This is a Beyond
It's fine.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's why I feel like Maple, like why
Hmm.
PSG or Flash rolls in general are so much better when Maple is on Rise, Silas,
Okay.
or Akali.
Mhm.
Basically anything that can side lane, because like
Yep.
Maple's never really played with a top lane that can actually side lane. So when he has something like that and he can actually match the opponent top laner, it just makes the game so much easier. Like I don't know why PSG doesn't go for that.
Mhm.
Like there are so many things I think PSG should be doing, and like, they're so talented. They're so goddamn talented. But I think their coaching staff actually underutilizes a lot of the talent that they have.
So
We'll see. We'll see if
it's
they can turn it around by Worlds.
it's Coach Diff, got it. But I think I like right now I'm actually just seeing Beyond Gaming like out rotate them on the map. And it's not even that Beyond Gaming are like playing super up or anything. It's just, you know, they're identifying the advantages of their composition, which is good, right? And then they're rotating when PSG don't contest with numbers. So I think that's promising, but we'll see a little bit more, focusing more on BYG now that they're taking more urgency. I want to see Kino play like aggro for vision, right? Just kind of bluff for vision. I would like to see that, see if that will happen. Like this is a timer where Kino could definitely bluff because Jace is like fogging here.
Yeah, I think they still have a pretty good idea where,
Where he is.
yeah.
Mhm.
I will say, like, Beyond Gaming, a really smart thing about them, like, the top 3 teams, or the top 4 teams in the PCS are, like, Machi, but we'll go into this fight first before I go on my
Yep.
rant.
Oh.
Oof. I still get it.
And then they're running. Okay, this should be like the best situation for PSG that they're gonna get. If they don't win this, yep. Okay, it's doomed.
Yeah, Leon pretty much one-shots right across the wall.
Yep.
So really good TP by Leon.
Mhm.
Ooh, I want to see what happened with Hanabi. Like that, if they get a kill, they should be able to snowball.
So there's probably a replay, but I just want to see this again because
Yeah.
like this is also a thing where you have like Olaf Karma here, and they are not like they're just kind of running in. Okay, wait, delay Husha.
Because the reaction was actually pretty slow. From Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, the reaction was pretty slow. Also, I think Jace did get the EQ, but I think it was more just like Doggo being fed. I'm gonna be honest. Doggo and Rise.
Hanabi that fight. Like did Hanabi just like ult out? I felt like if they get the kill on Alistar, he goes in and they should be able, like, he takes the Alistar ability and like shouldn't they be able to hold the choke that way?
Like they should be able to like control because they were all grouped, right? So they should be able to in that situation like hold the choke plus have like Olaf with Karma Shield at least run one person down like during the CC. So
I actually want to watch that again because I felt like they should have been able to fight their way out.
Is there a replay? Yeah, there's a replay. Here we go.
Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Kino gets run down pretty hard. Hanabi's still full HP. Shock Blast does a lot of damage. Okay. Heartbreaker in. Oh, he doesn't get the Sovereign's Domain.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, he's just dead. Okay.
Kino's actually alive through all of that. Okay,
yeah.
So Kino didn't go down. Only Hushot died.
Yeah, only Husha died. But that's, you still should be able to do, like, with Husha's corpse, create zone 2. So I don't know. It's I really do just think, like,
yeah, it's
Beyond, yeah, Beyond Gaming just played patient. They got the first, like, for me, like, the big things about this game is when they side traded and they gave Doggo like a full tower with plates bot, and then after that they weren't able to like get significant map advantages, and it got to a point where now BYG are just winning both sidelines, plus they have better team fights, so it's kind of the end.
I don't think the game ends very well for PSG. There's some last hurrahs here and there. And this is the problem with PSG. Like, if you hard force tempo and you don't have side lanes, it's actually very hard to create create a numbers advantage anywhere on the map. So, you know, they get chunked out, get forced back. This is probably one of Liang's best games that we've seen. This split, and just landing everything, getting drakes and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's playing mid-game really well, so.
Yeah. My rant about Beyond Gaming and why I actually really like their coaching staff is they played very different, depending on their opponent. Our top teams are Machi, J-Team, and Boom Esports. And they played the 1-3-1 against Boom. Leon versus Rocky was actually a fine matchup for him. Okay. And they played very aggro early game. They just went like pure Renekton sets early game for Mawan against Machi.
Okay.
To shut down the opponent 1-3-1. Because Machi is actually the superior 1-3-1 team when it comes to these two teams. So they're able to shift gears a lot depending on matchups. And that's why I think it's sometimes a little bit hard to characterize Beyond Gaming. You can tell that they've been trying things. This split, especially with their tempo play. They had like a long stretch of like 10 plus games or something where they're just like Varus Ashe. They're playing hard tempo from bot lane.
I'm assuming okay, so that sounds like that's a good, like at least a game from that series is good to watch, because I know we're getting up to the point where you have to dip, but
yeah, this game's I think is pretty doomed from here on out.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Get to see like you know, swapping around 1-3-1, which is their general setup in most matchups, and also just like a really strong team fight focus. Their matchups against Machi were, I can't remember which one was the best game, but
you said like Renekton set was stuff that they did, or let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I think earlier against Machi they ran the set Varus comp, so they can swap over to, this is another one of their comps that they do a lot, which is AP carries for Husha. We talked about like Lilia one trick. And so this is a setup that they play with Husky a lot, and they kind of force Mawan to join the team.
Okay.
Mawan used to go like pure control mages, was like, okay, you gotta bring this flavor in.
You gotta playback doesn't begin shortly. Try restarting your device. Thank you, YouTube. Sorry if you're since I know you don't. For those of you who don't watch my stream regularly, I have a constant struggle with YouTube not wanting to work, and I don't know why, but I think it's just like maybe my internet sucks more at this time of the night. Anyway. YouTube versus Kelsey, part 6972. So we'll take a look at this draft phase at least. All right, so Volibear first pick. That's that's a choice. There are a lot of choices that people make in life, and Volibear choice first pick is apparently one of them. So Varus and the enemy team gets Varus, Diana. The blue side bands are Thresh. Oh right, I'll take off my webcam. Sorry. Let's see. Thresh, Xin, and Olaf. Then we have first pick Volibear.
Yeah. So Monster are really special in that they're not really about the 80 carries. They're a pure 1-3-1 team. Like their bot lane is, I'll be honest, pretty weak. Bruce went over and played Wild Rift, so rip. I felt like if Bruce did not go and play mobile, like this team would still be.
This team would be. You go to Worlds, got it. So Wild Rift is ruining your region. Got it. Okay.
Oh my god, that's taking it a little bit far. But they ruined Machi. I'm not sure about the region, but they definitely ruined Machi. So got priority very different, and like I think G-Mian's probably one of our most improved players. Is our best Silas player, but they tend to draft it way too early. And this is just a game where Beyond Gaming punished that really well. I think they did this like both times against Machi, where they switched things up. they say like, okay, we're going to go on the aggressor this time, and this is something they were not able to do in spring whatsoever. They had no quick games in spring, so it's quite refreshing to see them being able to play this. And this was one of those strategies where the LPL played a ton of, like Set Diana, and Beyond Gaming were actually one of the earlier teams to pick it up here.
Yep.
And go for full Drake fight. So we'll see how they execute this one. I'm not sure if they execute it by playing close to the Drakes, but the draft idea was there.
Okay, so we do have a top lane counter pick here as well. This draft seems normal to me, like the Beyond Gaming draft. The Volibear first pick, Silas 2-3, less so. Less kind of the stuff that I'm used to seeing. I think that this like Fiora into Camille is hard, but if you're used to playing like more 1-1, makes sense. The one thing that I will say is that this 2v2 early is a lot better. Oh look, it's Clement. Crazy.
Oh geez, I'm ranting. Every time I see myself on screen, I'm ranting about something.
Sometimes you just know a lot, okay? So you gotta rant.
Yeah, I was probably complaining about Machi draft. I love Machi, man. Machi are such a fun team to watch, because I think the hardest part about 1-1 is actually folding your sides and getting engages off, and that's something that Machi does better than any other team in the PCS that we've seen. Gemini, Gmian, they really have a knack for that, just finding backlines and blowing them up with side lane advantage. But sadly, they are kind of a one-track team. So Beyond Gaming, switching draft priorities, and just going for the juggler, punishing them. And this is something really fun about Maon, like his incorporation of a lot of 80 mids throughout the split. I think a lot of times they actually cover up the weaknesses he has in lane.
Mm-hmm.
And it just means that if Doggo wins bot lane, then you see a very different way where Beyond Gaming can play the game.
Okay.
There's something I really enjoy about them.
So do they prio Varus a lot, or would you say, or is it more like scaling bot and play through sides?
I would say scaling bot is still their go-to, but they force themselves to play Varus, which I think is good. Like, there's a new team, you have to play tempo. Like, everyone knows that that's your weakness. Regular split in the PCS, like, honestly doesn't matter at all. It's a very forgiving playoffs format. We have 8 teams that go into playoffs, so this is a much better use of regular season games.
So
compared to some other teams.
So in this situation, right, what I would do is, because I would expect, like, Diana wants to full clear, like, that's when she's living her best life. So I would expect, like, Volibear to want to 3-camp mid, because I think they originally set up this draft so that they could top dive. But the Fiora counter pick, like, Fiora's going to get prio earlier, or can very easily in an extended lane situation, before Camille can outplay with level 3. Why do none of these top lane matchups go the way I want them to, Clement? I'm holding this against you personally, but
okay.
But I don't know. Neither of the things that I want to happen have happened so far. Let's see if Volibear tries to go for this. Like, he did have sweep, right? And he got the level 1 ward, which is good. Okay.
Yeah.
He's coming around the horn. Oh wait, the level 3 Diana gank. Okay. Oh. Okay. Well, Beyond Gaming are just too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This game, I still felt like he should have died there.
He definitely should have died. And then Gemini is just like chasing her.
Oh man, and that's a solo too. Damn.
Beyond Gaming, go beyond.
Yeah, this is. Damn, how did he survive that one? Did he get
So I guess
did he get the 2-man face break?
Just,
yeah,
he got the 2 men, and then he flashes.
That was sweet.
So Husha also 3-camped, which is like kind of rare for Diana's. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I think he was just hovering around Malon for that one.
Yeah, but I think they know that that's like the window that they have to win the 2v2. So Husha knows that it's gonna happen, right? That's like one thing that's super easy to read from draft. Like I don't even know this team, and I know they're gonna gank mid.
Hey, you want to come over and cast the PCS sometime? You know. I know Nightstar is still in chat, but I love you, Nightstar. Ooh, Kelsey's just a guess. Kelsey's just a guess.
Yeah, I'm just a guest
I
caster.
project,
It's
I
all good.
project.
It's all good. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Blocked one. Lee guy's fine. And this is what we expect in this matchup. Like, Volibear going top. Dives to happen early.
Yep.
Matchup swings into Fiora late game. And yeah, so I think this game, the general gist of it is like you see Beyond Gaming hold Machi down the entire time. They never let them 1-3-1. And what I'm looking for this game is just like how well can Beyond Gaming actually push tempo. That's the thing I'm most worried about for Beyond Gaming, because like if they want to switch up the gears, if that's going to be like one of their strengths, then how far can they actually push leads rather than just like playing defensive against PSG? So
I think like the Camille Fiora matchup is interesting, right? Because Camille can still outplay late game. Like it's actually one of the best skill matchups, just stays skill matchups, because there's a lot you can do to like bait the parry, and then you can get to a point where you're basically still just one-shotting her. So I like to watch this matchup a lot, but most people don't pick Fiora to Camille in competitive. So I already am a Liang enjoyer, you know. So this is nice.
Oof, 1-for-1 trade. That's totally fine.
Gemini is just not getting the things that he wants. That he needs.
He's getting matched.
Yeah.
And like Beyond Gaming trading 1-for-1 with this comp is like, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Like bullying Silas and everything. So
I also just feel like Husha kind of like has his number, right? Husha's meeting the map well, knows kind of where he's gonna set up his next play, which is good. It's not necessarily
definitely most improved.
It's not something I would expect from like a rookie juggler, right? So it's pretty good.
Yeah. I think you will see at Worlds, there will be a lot of setups where Husha is actually the main carry between him and Moan. And that's why you see like a lot of Renekton bans going into it as well. Like, it's kind of weird, but Beyond Gaming are actually one of the few teams that do have a Renekton flex in PCS.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Yeah, this is stacked top wave. Liang knows what's happening. He's scared.
Yeah.
His life is flashing before his eyes even before Volibear appears on his screen. That was Gemini. I don't think Gemini had to show there. Let's see.
Yeah, they're looking for an opportunity before level 6 hit here from Liang.
Yeah, but yeah.
Backs off. Not much he can do there.
But if he can't go mid first anymore, right? Because it's now a losing 2v2 for sure.
Yeah.
So he can only look for like fast plays inside.
Huh.
Alright.
A bit slow. There was also a game where Mawan got a pentakill. I think it was against Boom Esports. It was pretty fun to watch.
I'm actually...
If you want to...
Oh, Boom Esports is the Mao and Pentakill game. What was he playing?
I can tell you this. He was playing Rise. Like this game is just like they just hold Machi down the entire time.
Yeah,
the entire way through.
I already feel like this game is over, right? Like that's the reality of the situation. It's just from how like the mid 2v2 went, and they drafted specifically for that window. How bot went. I just want to see how Kina sets up bot vision. How they end up setting up bot vision after this. I think Kino. After they get Drake, Kino recalls. Yeah, yeah, so I actually like this too. Or did he die or he recalled, right? Oh no, he did die. Okay, never mind. I'm trolling. And he's coming out of base. Nice. What does Alistar do? Oh, actually he goes top here, which is good. And gets 2 ping. Oh, this is so nice, actually. This is like really well set up because this means like if Kino's like going on map like this and dropping pink here, this means that they've read that like Camille is stacking a wave already. And that's like really good, actually. They've read that Camille is stacking a wave. They've dropped pinks on this top side. I think the only thing that would make this better, right, is if like Rakan like Fox mid here as well, and then Set make sure Set gets this wave in, because I don't think Rakan needs to be bot here. Like basically Varus is just gonna clear this wave.
Yeah.
And then I guess the only scary thing is he's already experienced behind. It would be really nice if like Set would just they get this wave in and Set like Fox topside. That would make this play like perfect, I think. All right. You said next game?
Yeah, I think we can catch some of like the highlights because I don't think we've seen like a full-blown team fight, so that's what I want to catch. From Beyond Gaming, I think it was against Boom Esports. Yeah, it was the second one.
Oh, this is Berjaya.
So it's Boom's the wolf head.
The wolf head. It's not the demon head. It's okay. It's this one. Got it.
No.
So is it?
That's actually a Singaporean logo. So
Nice.
I actually have no idea what that is. Maybe it's an alien. Maybe it's a demon.
Yeah, it's an imp because it's impunity. Get it?
Ah, there you go. I want to see the highlight team fight. I kind of forgot how it went down, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So it was interesting to see because Beyond Gaming, I felt like they improved the most, but they dropped a ton of games this split.
That's I feel like there are so many instances where that happens, right? Like you lose a lot. The team that loses a lot regular season ends up winning like the first round if there's a double elim in playoffs. And then yeah, the other team adapted just because they're better. So
yeah, the second PSG series I felt like it's a lot less hype because I feel like PSG at some point it finally clicked for them, and they just went, okay, we're playing front to back team fight. Hanabi, we don't know what we're doing with Viego top lane. You're not really matching Liang. His team fight was kind of bad, so you're just playing a tank, and that worked out perfectly for them. So they just kind of out team fought Beyond Gaming from that point.
Nice.
If you want like a short synopsis on how
we'll probably watch that after you have to head out, but so you said you wanted to watch a team fight from this game, or?
Yeah, I wanted to go into the team fights this one.
Let's see.
This is equal enough, and it's definitely before a pentakill. So I think, yeah, the next one should be huge here.
Yeah, I can kind of see it on my screen, stuff that's coming. So, found a timestamp. This looks like this is leading up to a fight. I like to go earlier, though. Let's see.
Yeah.
Alright. So, this is a Felios recall. Dare I improve the quality? YouTube is very unhappy now. I flew too close to the sun. Is
Oh
PCS?
boy.
We've got someone from chat wondering if PCS is better than NA.
Realistically, no. But I'm actually willing to say that I think teams like PSG can take down the best of NA, and we've actually seen that at MSI. Like they beat NA towards semis.
So far what I've seen from Beyond is they do play like based on the 2 early games I've seen, which means that I need to watch more, but they are playing like more kind of stabilizing early games. But
Yes.
which is similar to TL, except TL's stabilizing early games are reactive in the moment, meaning that like we see a lot of Jensen TPing bot to stop bot dives, right? And giving ways for that. Rogue do this too. And then whereas some of the plays that I've seen from, especially in that last game from Beyond, is that they are reading the early game plays from draft or from like wave states, and they're reacting to them before they happen, right? And there were 2 instances of that in this last game, and it's probably what I'll look for the rest of the VOD review to see if they do some more stuff like that.
Yeah, I think Husha matching is a huge part of how they kind of stabilize. A lot of times they're picking things like Viego and Diana, so not exactly your strongest. They pretty much have like 2 modes, I would say, in draft, where it's like set Renekton with AP jungler, or they will just go Ryze Xin Zhao, which is kind of just like power pick drafting, but they get it quite frequently.
Okay, we got it back. Okay, I prayed to the YouTube gods.
Hey, let's go. Look, I'm just gonna say it. This might sound like blasphemy, but I can live on 480. 360 is a little too low, but 480, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing for me is I can live on 482. It's more like do I want to stream a 480p VOD review? Like that's more that's more where I am.
Okay, so we had Beyond Gaming getting poked out with Baron buff a little. Esports coming in. Target selection is kind of sus here. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, wow, that's kind of sexy. All right, Leon coming in.
Oh, okay. This is
1v4.
okay.
What?
Mawan? Hello? This is the Penta. Okay, nice. I found the Penta. I just like first try. I'm incredible. All right. This is like
Oh god.
It says we're gonna see the replay. I want to kind of see this again. That's basically what I was gonna say. All right, so Kino. Nice, Rocky. Okay.
People's Alex, that was hype.
I feel like Malan is just reading cooldowns well, right? Like he waited for the Malphite engage. Flash the Jace Q, like things like that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it gets the spell flux spread and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful. Yeah, that's that's what you have to be worried about beyond game. I think Moen, like, for me, he's not the best laner, but in terms of like team fight and split pushing, I think he's very measured.
Okay.
Like, it's hard to. He doesn't fail. Like we have players like Mission who's like have much strong laning phases, but then team fights they just kind of disappear. It's kind of the same thing with GMN. But Moen's just like the big fundamental. Like he'll show up in times when you don't really expect it.
We have to
not the most consistent player, but still, I think it's yeah, it's fun thing to point out that like Moen was their main damage dealer in spring, and like Doggo's rise was mainly in the summer, where he kind of skyrocketed after bringing back all that experience with PSG.
It's funny you said Doggo's rise, and I was like, wait, Doggo plays rise. I realized. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh. And then they just play out the map from here. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta get a Mangles in, so.
Yep.
Shout out to Mawan for that one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
That
felt
was
bad
just
for
good.
Husha. He nearly got a 3-man kick, but it was just like went between 2 players. It's like,
Yeah, I
happen.
thought like when he went in, I thought he was gonna carry, right? It's like
Yeah.
I could see the angle, but then it's like, oh no, this is a Rise 1v5 actually, like an actually earned pentakill. Those are kind of rare.
Yeah, those are really cool. Let's see. We covered most of their big matchups. I think they won both games against JT, just with better mid jungle synergy.
Okay.
Yeah, those games were kind of boring because it was kind of stompy. But I think the game that we should probably review is probably the last series against PSG, and that kind of caps it off. Unlike what happened afterwards, because you see, like, we can just tell in the drafting phase right here that PSG just shifted over towards kind of matching late game team fights a lot more. You see the Azir coming out.
Right.
You see the Xerath coming out. Sorry.
Oh, there's
It was
Xerath
a
and
really fun
Galerius.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just hard poked them out. And the last game, of course, you go back to Ornn and just cap out the series that way.
Yeah, I mean, when in doubt, just pick Ornn. That's pretty. It was this Ornn into GP or GP into Ornn actually?
I think it was Ornn, like, close to last pick or something. It was a
Okay.
very late, from what I remember.
So he's got
this
some.
game was kind of a bummer because I felt like, if I remember correctly, PSG just kind of won early, and it was a little bit stompy. The third game was really fun because nobody knew that Maple played Xerath. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
The thing that I find interesting about Xerath, right, is less like the Xerath player and more if the team invests enough time into being like a Xerath team, right? Because the way you're thinking about vision, like line rush is way more important. How like you're thinking about using the Xerath ulti when it's up to create sideline pressure, like similar to like a TF, things like that. So I don't know. I think Xerath is just really an interesting pick that is underutilized mostly because it changes the way that your team plays the game such that people don't invest like the scrim bucks into it, you know? So
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, the amount of plays you could actually do with the Xerath are... I see Xerath as you bring hard crowd control, jungler, you have a lot of side lane playing potential, and... yeah, it's actually surprisingly strong in lane as well. It's just... If you get one rotation, you can just find priorities. He's very opportunistic. I think your team has to be able to be willing to kind of just play off of that.
I feel like Xerath is like sleeper OP, right? But again, it's just you have to invest the games into it, right? So that's the way it's balanced, because it's a situational counter pick in laning phase. So, and it has trouble with like long range hard engage. So you kind of have to pick it later in the draft too. So you need, first of all, to invest the games into scrims to play it on stage, and then 2 to get the correct situation for it. So
yeah, there's actually a lot of picks like that, which is
yeah, it's a lot. And I think draft becomes stale less because people can't think of the picks in the situations, and more just because, you know,
they don't have time.
Yeah, you just don't have
time.
Don't
understand the teams don't actually have a lot of time at all.
Yep.
Especially if you're playing, like, I think LPL is definitely like that. For like LPL teams have much more defined styles because I think they have far less scrim time.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. Like, they actually have less scrim time than most PCS teams, which is...
Oh, come on, YouTube. Why? Why do you hate it so?
But yeah, I'll just talk over this game. It's just like PSG, they set up for poke. Mawan sees that, oh, that's a great Azir opening. So he takes the Azir himself, and Maple's like, aha! you fall into my trap card, and he pulls out the Xerath. It was actually a great draft. It was, to me, this was like a super player focused draft. I'll be honest. I don't think there's any chance. Like, from my understanding of PSG coaching, I think there's no chance that the coaches actually drafted this. This was just like
Wow.
Maple's like, aha, my solo queue.
I started the stream saying, like, if you want to play Beyond Gaming, feel free, and then you just come in and you blame the PSG coaches all stream. Silence.
What?
Oh.
I didn't really catch it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I said you just come on and you flame the PSG coaches the entire time instead of. That's just like. Just the subtle jabs to the PSG coaches here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I feel like they could be more. They could be more.
See there. Look, I mean, you gotta admit that's an excellent shirt. You know, it's teal.
This one was funny. You could tell the coaching staff were like,
"What?
Are you sure, guys? Are you sure, guys? Like, let's just get the Trundle first, okay? We're already going for poke. Let's get the Trundle first."
Now, this one should be a difficult draft to play, right, on the PSG side, in the sense that you do need patience. You can't just run
I
at
want to
them.
clarify this. It's kind of a meme that everyone knows that if Maple picks Karma, they're gonna lose their games, because this happens whenever Maple's on utility, they lose their games. So PSG were basically promising the viewers beforehand, is like, we're gonna pick Karma.
I like it.
So they were kind of trolling the viewers right there, and then they swap over to the Xerath, which they actually showed in the 4th pick already. Oh, and I got my read wrong. Yeah, Beyond Gaming actually picked the Azir into it. Oh.
Huh.
Oh, they banned the Zoe. Okay, forgot that. They banned the Zoe, because Zoe fit that comp way too well. But they definitely weren't expecting this one. Hey.
Yeah, they would poke. I would not want to pick Azir into Xerath. You want something to like engage onto it. So your only really hard engage here is like Leona and Varzolt. So let's see. I wonder, this is like the kind of game where you would expect like Beyond Gaming to camp mid as 2 people, right? Like as Leona and Varus after they can get Pryobot.
Jeez, I wonder what I'm saying right here. I look so animated. Is this sped up? Is that the reason, or do I just talk that fast?
It's not sped up.
Okay. I'm just excited.
You're just excited for the draft. You're like, oh, it's a Xerath, yes.
Yeah, this was a really fun game to watch because it was like 24/7 dodgeball, and unfortunately PSG had longer reach, and they also used Trundle quite well. So, yeah, this is, how should I say, Game 5 was pretty bad in this series because I think it was just like an early mistake that it was kind of a dumb mistake. PSG just ran away with it. But this game was, I think, one of the games that PSG actually won just like straight up. Like, they had a better game plan, they executed better. And there were a lot of moments where they just caught Beyond Gaming out. And this is also a game where I feel like, for me, Beyond Gaming is not the most consistent 1-3-1 team. A lot of times, to me, it still feels like they default to team fight. Or, like, the way they played in Spring, when they were actually going for pick, was they played around Doggo, which I felt like was actually pretty interesting. They had Kaisa Doggo, and he would actually fold into the side lanes rather than side lanes folding into him, which is I don't necessarily think it's the correct way to play. Which is why I felt like Machi probably does 1-3-1 a little bit better.
Okay.
But yeah, this is an interesting game where you see like Beyond Gaming, they're trying to go for a 4-1 to kind of take the pressure off. But PSG still kind of just like destroy the mid to the point where they don't get this push.
Yeah, and I would like I said, I think you kind of need to use your bot prio after, unlike basically enemy bots should get first wave crash with Trundle and Varus having like kind of a shit level one, and then after that, like Varus can get the 4-minute like wave crash, and then you can rotate mid and help, and just kind of look to set up a play on Xerath pre-6, right? That should be sort of what you're thinking about in terms of early game here. And then, of course, like once Varus has level 6, you should still keep looking for those windows, I think. And they should get prio actually, because it looks like bot leash for PSG. So
now this is a very non-aggressive lane coming out from PSG, and I think this draft is. I think the Ezreal is going to be much more common when PSG hit Worlds. Like, if they're going to continue their style of just like leaving Unified on an island.
yeah, Ezreal
probably
Ziggs. Anything that like Varus is also okay because you just get you try to get the wave in early and then you're not diveable after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just clear the way for free in mid game. So like all those picks, I just think that's generally how AD works right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like the Ezreal a little bit. I should put this. I like Ezreal for PSG not because I think Ezreal's a better pick than Varus. I actually favor Varus, but I think it's better for PSG because it allows them to have some more late game. I feel like having a source of sustained damage or not is a huge difference maker for PSG. And oftentimes PSG will not run with sustained damage, which I
see. Okay.
It makes this draft really scary for them. So yeah, they relied on Ezreal a lot more in the finals.
Okay, we're trying to dive. Like, this is the classic GP Xin Zhao dive, said no one ever. Let's go.
Like, where have I ever heard that?
Yeah, did not. Okay, redive. He at least got the XP from like half of the creeps.
Yeah, this wasn't too bad for them. Push on the flip side. This works. This thing.
Okay, Azir is going to get recall. Or not. Cheeky Maple move. Yeah, like Ezreal Trundle is not really diveable, so you're either playing for camps or you're playing for like a timer from Leona, right? And I think they just assumed Azir's going to get reset, so we can set up a play before, like on maybe like the wave that's mid at 5:30, right? So thinking about the game in terms of those timers. Yep, Leona recall. Okay. We're looking for it. CHP's back for the wave. Let's see. Oh, I like this. You never expect the Xerath TP at level.
Those are the scrim bucks. There you go. That was such a cool play.
Yeah. He's giving wave mid for it. I'm actually really surprised that they didn't just back here, right? Like, I would expect bot, like, this is the kind of thing where in comms, your bot lane says, oh, these guys are fucking trolling, right? Like, and then you TP bot.
Oh, the unseen Xerath.
Yeah. I thought for sure Leona would TP there, and then they would set up, like, a mid play, but no. They just greed bot, and then Xerath TPs. It's great. I like it.
That happens a lot, where it's in this game where they just throw down pillar, and like it's so hard for Vars to get away from anything. He has a dodge from Ezreal and Xerath at the same time, and then there's GP barrels too. So it's a fun game. I actually really love this comp from PSG. Like, I hope they bring it out more.
And it also kind of highlights what you were saying before about some of the early game creativity in terms of stuff that they look for. Like capitalizing on a play like that is good, right? So yeah. I'm so far enjoying my visit to PCS land. It's a good time.
Hey, it's always a good time when you're only showing like the top couple of teams.
Yeah, we don't.
I will say shout out to all the Filipinos out there, but Liab Gaming was actually pretty lit this split. I never thought I'd be saying this, but Liab Gaming is actually a really fun team to watch.
I remember I watched Thai League in I think it was like 2014. I watched Thai League and I don't know why, but I did. So there's definitely a lot of variety in
League back in those days?
Yeah, they did.
I'm actually quite surprised.
Yeah, they did. But obviously the team with Lloyd on it, that's always had Lloyd on it, that changed its name several times. I can't remember what its name was at the time, just like stopped everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens in the PCS in general. Is like we do have relegation, but the spot is reserved for that region. So let's say a Philippine team is being relegated, another Filipino team will take its place. And it's usually like 2 or 3 of the same people.
Yeah.
Once the newer team comes up, they just like the best players. They meld themselves into the same team once again. So
that was when they had the GPL, right? So it was a similar system, right? Like really similar system. Yeah. All right, so in terms of like how this game should play out, I'm kind of expecting like PSG don't have super good like face check, and their comp benefits a lot from like earlier rotation and setup with GP, Zareth, Ezreal, because you want to be in a situation where you're kind of like baiting them to walk at you, but you aren't committing to a neutral. So you just want good vision control, or you want to play in like an open lane, and then have GP stand in the brush that's like surrounding where you're playing. So meanwhile, as BYG, you really have to make like the trigger pull on Varus Leona work for you as soon as you see any kind of burnt cooldowns. So that's kind of
I think what I really liked about this game was it's like PSG realizing that Beyond Gaming, for me, like Beyond Gaming probably has to get a successful split push. If they don't get a split push this game, it's kind of donezo for them. And they put a lot of attention on Hanabi, which is oddly something that we've seen in this matchup over and over again, is that I think with sustained pressure, Leon actually does fold, or Beyond Gaming sometimes does just kind of leave Leon on an island. So like, well, it's GG for you. We're sorry, but we're not going top anymore. They sometimes do that, and it happened like 2 or 3 times against PSG throughout their games. So yeah.
This is 11. Wait, is this 11.15? Yeah. So it should be relatively easy to punish Gwen as GP on this match. So just playing off of those advantages.
It's not the busted level 1 Gwen, basically.
Yeah. It's the 20% reduced attack speed on E Gwen, so.
Yeah, we can speed this game up. Like I feel like the mid game was really interesting for me.
Okay.
Just the way that PSG handled catches in the mid lane was really fun.
Oh, this looks interesting. I wanna see the setup here. Oh, is this the? Okay, so the only team that we've seen do this kind of thing in LPL, to clarify, is actually LNG. With the Zareth like roam ganks where they just like gank you under tower with gank setup with dive setup with ulti. So I just want to see this really quick. Yeah, it's only 1 wave. That's okay. I feel like with Zareth you can get away with, you know, like cheating into topside, and they're gonna make a play on a stacked wave, and not many people will defend, and they don't expect it to be a 3-man because it's a Xerath, right?
Yeah. It ends up
Nice.
being like a 4v2 in that spot, which is
Yeah.
pretty.
And I think they're mostly just rushing this dive because of Trundle timer more than anything else. I do like that Kaiwing like shifted mid here. My god, they're investing a lot into this.
Oof. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, Beyond Gaming actually outplay them. Move.
Yep. It's really hard to dive a Gwen. It is at a certain point. So even though her laning phase is not as great, like she could kind of get away with it sometimes. All right, we'll go mid game. How do you define mid game? This is actually a question that I've had to have a couple times. I had to ask people a couple times. Is like, how do you define your mid game?
Yeah. I think for me, like the difference is like laning really isn't happening on a solo basis anymore. Like there are more roaming pieces, or at least like one lane is gone from vision at most times. So laning is much more just about getting wave manipulation rather than like trying to win trades and stuff. I think that's when mid game starts for me. That's still like very
Vague, yeah.
yeah, it's like more in contrast to early game laning phase rather than a definition in and of itself. But that's the way I kind of use it, like at least in my vernacular.
So would you call this mid game, or not quite?
Yeah, I would say this is the mid game already for me. Like you have like one of the lanes already leaving most of the time, and you're dropping to 1-3-1 setup. For me, that's kind of mid game.
You have much longer timers when you get your waves in on bot and top side for BYG and PSG respectively, right? So
Yeah, this is when the fun stuff should start to happen, I think. Maybe we need to go forward a little bit.
okay.
It's,
Also, MiraQ wants to know how you define hedging, which if you're not in on the hedging meme, it's totally fine. No one is.
okay, so I have my own terms for hedging as well, but this is I'm not sure if it's the hedging that everyone else use.
And Peter Dunn did like a lecture in his Discord where he introduced like hedging as a concept, which basically the way he.
Alright, so I'll say what my hedging is,
Okay.
and you can tell me if it's the same thing. So
Okay.
I've used hedging as a term when I casted the LPL, and it's a term I picked off from EDG and the way they team fight.
Okay.
Is that they will hedge you against terrain, especially a lot of times when teams are transitioning from Herald or Baron to mid lane to try and protect. What EDG will do is they will hard force you against terrain, and they will break apart your front line and back line. And I call that hedging, which is basically you hedge forward, and then you get free access to back line, and their front line is like, you can send one person and tie them up while the other 4 people just go and kill their AD carry or something like that. That's what I call hedging, but I'm not sure if it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same thing.
Okay, let's go. What is the other hedging?
The Peter Dunn hedging. So it was funny because it was like I did my first VOD review stream the day after he did his lecture, and a lot of this is just I don't hear him use this term because I work with him, right? And I almost never hear him use this term. So I was like, okay, did he invent this for the lecture? Because I didn't know what it was, and people were talking about it. But it turns out that hedging is just basically the way IG play, which is like you play super aggressive on multiple sides of the map, so that if a team collapses on one, you've basically like hedged your bets so that you make the play on the opposite side, right? So it's just like this kind of way of viewing the game where you're hedging on like your risk, I guess. Which works for me, but it was just a meme in my stream chat for a while because I didn't know what it was and people were asking me about it. It's like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. That's an interesting concept because I think in a sense that's also what the 131 does. But the way that you describe it, it sounds like for Peter, his hedging is more early game focused. It's more about you can play
131 that way, but more often, like I see, like kind of more sophisticated 131 teams, like always have one lane in fog, right? Like of the three, so there's a lot more communication that goes into it. Where it's like, okay, top side is our strong side, so we're going to act like we're overloading top side by having like support and jungle fog. So like, let's say right now PSG is playing strong side, top side. You have like support and jungle like potentially being able to fog into top side, and they're just like standing in line brush or something. And then you don't have Maple showing, and he's also in fog, so assume it's not a Xerath. You know what I mean? And then so he can like. He's going to wait for GP to clear this top wave before he can show on bot wave, right? That would be kind of more what I see teams play. Whereas if you play it 1-1 like IG, you're just all showing in 3 lanes at once. And if BYG rotate to collapse on you, you're fine if they kill Maple, because you're going to play super aggro for Hanabi. And if you're fine if you kill Hanabi, because then you're going to play super aggro for Maple, right? So...
Yeah. I don't know. My only problem with it is like attributing anything to like active thought to post 2018 IG just feels kind of weird. It's just like
I mean, like, it's like are
they actually doing it, or is it just like turn out this way?
But I think they've always played that way, right? It's just like playing it aggro 3 lanes at once.
Yeah. I think the I guess my question is, does the term describe a team that's actively setting up a hedge where they are dangling something that a piece that they're about to lose on one side to gain more on the other side?
So like, I think
is that a part of hedging or not?
So I think that's like, so I think
does it
yes.
have to be a deliberate calculation?
So I will say like more. The way he was doing it was yes, deliberate, but then when he described it. I was like, oh, so it's just Invictus Gaming. Though...
yeah, that's the problem with the example.
Yeah, that's the problem with the example is just... But that's always how I've defined, like, the way Invictus Gaming play. And I think that Invictus Gaming, like, probably the way they approach it is they just all want to play super far forward in lane. So probably when they talk about it, they justify it by being like, oh, okay, you know, it doesn't matter if they kill one of us because we're going to win on the other side, right? But they probably didn't. They probably arrived at that conclusion just by doing what they do normally. This is also why I always am like the biggest Ning apologist, because I feel like it's so hard to play jungle when your team is like that. I also think the 2018 IG, the reason why it worked is because when your scuttle is spawning at like 2 minutes, then as long as you're playing like a level 2 jungle and playing for a scuttle first, you're probably going to win out in the trade, right? And then they just snowball from there. Yeah, Camille, Xin, Lee Sin only? Okay. Okay, so this is interesting because PSG can just win out in mid-prio. I want to see this approach. So this is like if you're playing Ezreal Xerath, especially with Ezreal having Sunder already, you're kind of in a situation where you're always going to win on mid lane, right? You're always just going to win showing on mid lane. So you do have to, I think, let's see, could BYG have set this up better? This is more my question here. Anyway, that was I don't know why we always have to have like a hedging segment on stream, but we do. So okay, so technically they're first on this wave here, and Doggo just recalls again. So what I'd want them to do is basically like, okay, they can contest this. We should get pinks on either side, and then actually just stand on the pinks, and the goal should be to catch the next mid wave kind of low, right? So that they walk forward and you create an engage angle. Let's see. Varus recalls early. But Varus recalls again, right? When they're able to test this wave. So I feel like he's gotten 3 waves since the last time he recalled. So what is he buying that he really needs before the next dragon fight? If your AD is recalling here, I think you just like give Drake and trade for topside. Probably the best thing they can do. Instead they're like, oh, okay, we're all gonna just show on midwave. Oh wow, Malan's also completely poked down here. Really? So Varus is... They also have Rift. So someone can just catch midwave. By the way, I know that you said you'd only do a little bit, so you can go, and I will just continue to watch the game if you need to head out during that.
All right. It's been really nice hanging out, man.
Yep.
You know, we can do this.
Yeah, this was fun. If you're interested in doing something with PSG, which let me know. But otherwise,
I think I ranted most about them. Yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
to everyone in stream. Good to see you guys. See you around later.
Yep. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye. Yeah, I just he was getting a little bit quieter, so I figured he probably had to head out. So I was giving him the pass because I know not everyone speaks up in these types of situations. But anyway, chat, you're stuck with me now. I have kind of an early out time too today because I do have an earlier meeting this morning. But I do want to finish this game, and I want to watch some boring games. So giving him the social pass to say, no, Kelsey, I'm tired of you. Which I think is very fair. Stream the meeting. I don't know if my boss would appreciate me streaming the meeting, I'm gonna be honest. So yeah, so it looks like PSG are just gonna play through mid lane here. I feel like the biggest problem was Varus's recall, right? Like Xerath's Varus's recall here. So this is probably the most negative thing I've seen about Beyond so far. Just chat all over the boss and stream it. Listen people. Okay, let's put it this way. I know my boss would not appreciate me streaming it. Ooh. Okay, so this is like a little bit better from Beyond, right? So I would expect, so we had Varus looking for kind of a flank here. The problem was is that Azir had to recall because he got 2 poked, yeah? So if Azir has to recall when he gets 2 poked, Varus has this like side angle. So now we are no longer able to rely on Azir to play mid-wave, so we're giving up our flank. Wow, that was a flash from Kino. But this is not bad, right? We've got Maoan coming back in, really nice scoop. And now we're kind of able to get a little bit of those flanks because they just like funneled in really close to beyond side. Whereas, you know, after you get the Leona kill, you want to create more space for this team comp. Like the biggest thing is that GP, Zareth, Ezreal, they want space for you to kind of walk into them and for you to poke them out. Let's see. You close your eyes a lot of Kino plays. I'm just looking for it. It's not the worst. Oh, aimbotting? Okay, I missed that one. Because now that you've sort of pushed them back, they are rotating for the Drake here, right? So that's the initial plan. River's walking up. Kino, but then Kino does this flash. So immediately you're thinking, okay, their engage is gone outside of Varus ulti. And now they have to play super far forward into this choke point. And that's not what you want. You love like this open lane setup. You love the open dragon river setup. You do not want to play into up too far is BYD. This is one of those weird drafts because both teams are basically kind of daring you to run into them. It's a range escalation draft for sure. Right, we talked about this doing the LPL live views. We talked about this on the LPL live views. Is just like this tendency to go for range escalation as a BO5 series between two not completely clean teams, I'll say. Escalates. Let's see. They have okay go buttons. Like, they have Leonel Varus ult, but you need a good angle setup for those because you're not going to get it through mid-prio, right? So you either have to play through side, or you have to be on the mid-wave first, which means your recalls have to be really, really on point. And you need to be, like, controlling, like, see, as soon as they show like this was from 2 screens away. This guy was charging his Q, and then he's just... Now he's just screwed. I mean, this sucks. Ooh, I like how he set up that ulti, though. Like, those ulti shots being around the dead turret. That was really nice. Good use of terrain. That was, like, almost Clement-style hedging. Not to be confused with Peter Dunn-style hedging, right? Hedge fund. Hedge funds. So this is fun. I think the one thing that... So I haven't minded Beyond... But I do think this is probably one of the worst mid games we've seen from them. Or this kind of weird stabilizing mid game tendency is susceptible to poke comps, it's susceptible to hard engage, and dive. But in general, I'm kind of more fascinated by their early game in a lot of ways. Okay, so looking at how they set this up, right? They dropped midwave. Because we already talked about how if you do not win on midsection, you have to make fast plays on side. Which is what we talked about with the very first game, when they picked the first pick of Phelios, and then they picked strong side lanes. So if you're playing like that, and you don't win mid, you have to be willing to make really, really fast plays. So I like this a lot. They're basically acknowledging Ezreal strong on mid and then making a fast play here. So I said we were looking for that throughout the day when we were looking at the VOD reviews. So this is not, honestly, this is not too bad. Like I think BYG didn't really acknowledge how they win at first. Wait, PSG win this game? Huh. This is interesting. They didn't acknowledge how they can win at first, but they kind of figured it out. With like a play like that, you get the sense that they understand their compositional win condition a little bit. So Azir's going to catch and show top wave. Zero should go straight mid here. And then they should play on mid wave again. They're ahead on the map. We're sidelining the Xerath. Okay. So they kind of gave out their top window a bit. Xerath just got one wave really fast. No GPS window from bot though. With Gwen showing. The triple pull is nice. Yeah. Unfortunately, the problem is that so you've got, like I said, they have a window from bot from GP, and the logic I think here from BYG to engage like this is that it doesn't matter because we have Gwen TP. But the problem is that you're again like hard forcing into a choke. Versus GP window. And that's not the greatest. You know what BYG reminds me of? They kind of remind me of TES. Like a really poor man's TES. And maybe I'm just thinking that because Joel would go for this, right? Joel would go for this. Do we agree that Joel would go for this? This is definitely a Joel play. Like, I'm just remembering the very first TES game of the season where Leona engages into poor man's TES. Do you feel smudge? There's also range escalation, right? And they play a really bad 1-3-1 and end up just drafting 1-3-1 and grouping mid. They draft for 1-3-1 and group mid. Also, Jackie Love is kind of like Doggo reminds me of Jackie Love, like for the stuff that he like postures forward onto. I could see it, guys. I could see the analogy here. Like, as I say this, it happens on my screen. The X macro is everywhere, man. It is just the XX macro. Hedging, excellent Clement style hedging from Maple. Of course. All right. So game just swung a lot in PSG's favor off of what we're going to term the draw engage. The classic. I like how we just have this lexicon, the XX macro, the draw engage, Clement style hedging, Peter Dunn style hedging. This is how you make a community. You just invent words. Triforce GP. The schools of hedging. Poor Peter. I'm naming him while he's on his vacation. Let's see. The Shield by Essence Reaver GP. That's better on the new GP, I think. The post 11.15 GP. Is there a link to Peter Dunn's lecture? I think in his Discord. Really, we're just Liang versus Sanabi. I mean, this is not winning for Liang, I feel. Even without Maple interfering. My god. What a tragedy. Seraph is so cool. Kind of... Okay, so we see the initial... combo here. He just ults onto Doggo. That guy's just dead from Seraphil. But it's... Maple's aim on this ship is actually so nice. Oh god. Oh no, Kino. Oh no! Oh no! Bye, friend. Alright, so that game was fun. Yeah, so our analogy is that basically Beyond Gaming is a poor man's CS. We'll watch this one, I think. Actually, is there a better one? Okay, so I feel like watching TF is going to be necessary for understanding PSG. But if we're purely talking about how well Beyond Gaming play, what's something that we haven't looked at yet? Let's see. So they played. Do we want to see like how they play a Ziggs comp? Like when they play Ziggs. How good is Maple actually? How did he feel on LPL? They will win all the rest. Maple is definitely a better Zenith than Icon. I don't know how good Maple is right now because I haven't watched enough PSG, so it's hard for me to explicitly say. I think in terms of why he failed in LPL, there's a lot of reasons. I think Maple is best when you can coordinate 3v3s around mid. I don't think he was particularly in a meta where that was great. I don't think he necessarily hard failed in LPL. They had the best iteration of Suning was basically, when he was in LPL, was basically 2 mid laners. So it was him and Angel playing solos. So I wouldn't say that it was really him failing in LPL. And they were okay with that setup. There were a lot of other issues in how they were playing. Is Maple kind of like Sia then? No, I think I wouldn't necessarily say that that's Sia. Like Sia is, I think, Sia's more like a TF player who's gonna rotate. Like obviously you play for 3v3 mid on the appropriate TF timers, but you're gonna rotate to side more often. Would be the most nothing mid jungle 2v2. So they had some trouble with poke. I actually want to see them play this, because this is way more 5v5 oriented. You have like Kennen flank, Aphelios. This is like way more front to back, right? So I kind of want to see this one. Because they've been trying to play 1-3-1 in most of the vaults we watched, but I just want to see how they are when they have a straight up, like, fight you in river comp. And I feel like Sia and Maple aren't even that similar. based on when I watched Maple the most, which wasn't this year. And it's not like CA even played this year, so. Yeah. But I feel like they're not that similar. We are waiting for the game to load. One day, YouTube will stop hating me. Alright. One day, YouTube will not hate me. One day. It will happen. Is my stream frozen? That's awkward. Okay, we've got the game up. Beyond Gaming VOD review. Gonna remove. Not done. It's probably the dankest it gets. You just watched the Rogue VOD review and ran out of hopium. We're doing Fnatic on Sunday, so I'm wondering how that one's gonna go. There's definitely gonna be some hopium for my 100 Thieves guest. We'll put it that way. Definitely some hopium there. Gonna throw that out there. We will learn Fnatic's the greatest team. Okay, so Aphelia's first pick from Beyond again. PSG Varus into it. Renekton Diana, really common. Is this Renekton Flex might be common in from talking to Clement might be common in PCS. Jace into Kennen. So this lane wins out, the Jace and the Kennen, though I think it's gonna be, I'm assuming it's gonna be Renekton mid. But the Jace and the Kennen lane wins out until 6, then Kennen can actually solo kill you. Unless you've snowballed effectively. Because you can't just stand and poke him under tower anymore. He can all-in you. If you don't have flash. The Renekton Diana kind of flex duo. Or a set Diana flex duo. Okay, we're looking for... Okay, I like this. Using Braum for level 1. Jay's playing really far back. This is nice from both teams. It's like use of Braum, Jace acknowledging that they're gonna look for a collapse. based on the Braum pick. I will say, like, this is not an RNG or a TL Jace. There's not vision coverage on top side of the map. But I think they didn't want to contest it because of Braum anyway. The way that a TL borrowed the way that they tried to play Jace from RNG, but they don't execute it as well. Okay, Hanabi needs to play way more up in this lane. Like, what is this? Hello? It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. If he E's at you, you have your fucking... whatever. I'm fine. Hanabi! Just auto-attack him. Just... do me a favor. I think that's going to be the biggest difference maker, is just watching the laning ability of these teams. There's not a lot of punish in either of these lanes. Okay, okay. Unified. Looking for some trades. Okay, so I like that Husha went for 5 camp into bot. Doesn't want to fight top scuttle. I think that's good. I don't know what's happening mid lane or why Silas is winning after level 3. Forcing the TP. Okay, this is good. Like, they immediately disengage after forcing their TP too. Like, this is really good from Husha. Like, actually, I'm really impressed by this guy overall. He seems very smart. It's less the Rakan Braum and more the fact that Varus should still just get free poke angle. Like, you can AD trade. Also, Rakan wins Braum. So there's for sure punish. Like, it's pretty easy to use Rakan or WNE to basically bait out the E or the Q. And then if they don't, you just get free harass. And then you look for like all it. So there's actually a lot of options to trade in that matchup. It should be really Rakan favored. Especially if you have like Varus Rakan. So I was giving this explanation while stuff actually happened, so I need to go back. So even in the support matchup, there's a lot of option for punish. So the regank is interesting. Because this is a post-scuttle regank, which means that Husha, and this was also on the wave bouncing back, so this means that Husha should be like late on his recall here by a lot. So if Diana actually wanted to make a play bot here, like you can reasonably anticipate this is actually a better angle. So you can play to stall the crash and even look for a freeze here if Diana just runs straight bot. Because I would think it would make more sense, like you're building the stacked wave, right? So it would make more sense you actually have a window where Husha can look for a recall and run back bot again, just to make sure that they get their wave in. But this is like an angle where you can play on bot knowing that Braum has no flash with Diana as well. So you should anticipate now either Husha is going to be a recall behind, or he's going to be recalling. But instead we're looking mid, which I find really weird. So this is the window where Liang should just start winning this lane, right? Look, I can't make fun of second pick Vayne anymore. So we missed the window to play around bot from PSG, and I'm really upset about it. I'm just really upset about this. How is this allowed? It's fine. It's fine. I want to see jungle again. So does Diana show anywhere? She doesn't need to show, right? Because you can reasonably assume she'd get bot pat to top based on camp priority. So she'd be top around this time. This is the window that so this is the window I was talking about where reasonably you could completely just recall, straight pot again, and then still be in time for your top camps looking for a window. But what he does now is that he goes for like 1.5 clears, gets top camps, and then plays for this bot play. I don't even know why this just feels like it shouldn't be real at all. And this is basically just a misplay from PSG and River. I can't make fun of second pick Vayne anymore. That's all I'm gonna say. If you know, you know. It should never work, right? And the wave shouldn't be in that position. Like, that's the biggest thing, is that there's no way the wave should be in that position in this bot matchup, especially since Diana had, like, a gigantic free timer to stop bot rush. So, just a lot of weirdness. Kai Wing using his roam out of base to look top. I think it's really hard to look top on Kennen, though, especially post 6. So this could also, two things this could be. This could be like a lean top to get a recall, because Jace's itemization breakpoint right now is really fucking sus. Like, holy shit, I do not want to see this when I'm looking at my top laner's items, and he has D-Blade tier versus Seekers. We all lost the second pick Vayne in a way. Look, that's all I'm gonna say. I just can't believe that happened. Okay, Hanabi? Nice. So you can't really one-shot post 6, but post 1 item you can definitely. So I want to see this all in again. So he doesn't get the proc off on E. It's autos. Alright, well. That was not the greatest engage from Leon. I'm gonna be honest with you on that one. Oh, River realizes the bot lane exists. You hate Jace? I love Jace. Okay. Bam. This is very weird. Why are we all bot here? So I know why we're bot. 'Cause there was just the top play, so obviously there's no play to be made top. There's no way this is a real Rift Herald take though. That's it feels bad. From mid lane. So this is what I hate. It's like they're all just suddenly bot. Stupid replay. Let's see. So let's see if we can get a better look at the minimap. Silas is leading top for some reason. She gave Vernectin free timer. I just don't know why bot lane is in this position. It's the biggest thing. Is it from the recon timer? Like, you shouldn't be able to contest the wave at this point in the game on bot. I feel like it just doesn't. Unless you have a really good engage ult from Aphelios and Varus ulti is completely wasted. They were playing off of Braum 6, but if enemy AD has a flash up, Braum 6 is not gonna win you the fight. I think also you need to save Braum 6 for their engage. Like, the ideal window to play this 2v2 is like they engage, use Braum ulti to disengage. Which is also why Varus Rakan should just play for poke and short traits in this lane in general until enemy bot lane gets really low and they can't kind of disengage your poke anymore. Which forces them to look for those types of engages, but it's not like PSG's bot lane is even playing it optimally. I don't know, like, Clement's gone and I immediately am just 100 times more negative. I need to fix this about my personality. Shitty M is here. Okay. I like this from BYG. We now have... We still don't have completed item on Kennen. So he's not gonna quite be able to one-shot Jace. But I think because she realized that they're giving top for top what dive, but this kind of map read is still nice. Overall from both teams. Like, I actually feel like BYG and PSG are not... They're definitely smarter teams than some of the teams we've seen. It's just, I have a feeling the way that they're gonna play, like, laning and small early mechanical points are things that's gonna get them punished too much. Okay. So I like this from Husha. Effectively, what he did was he leaned top to guarantee cannon timer so that we could get this cannon flank on mid. So this is really cool. Like, this is the kind of map awareness that you would not at all expect from rookie junglers. Cannon recall. Walking back top, they drop Rift. Husha's reading the mid-engage. Both top CP. Jace can definitely do things on his own. Like, he can punish lane hard, he can set up stack dive, and he can just guarantee mid prio through poke from far. I think Jace is one of the most the most oppressive like game poke champ in the game. Except maybe Xerath, but who plays that champ? Not me. I like how they just gank the Jace. I think that that's probably one of the more interesting things because should be like Jace can like even cheat wave, right? So opposite side of the map is ahead in map play. Like by default. Wow, I'm tired. I'm getting to the point where I have to leave for meeting soon. So I think watching them, I think they're smart. Like the PCS teams are definitely smarter than like Husha is so good. Holy shit. This guy is really good. But I think just laning punishment in basic matchups are things. It's like they're smart and A, you know? Because I feel like laning punish in basic matchups is basically the entire reason why I'm typically down on North American teams. But these guys are actually also smart once they get out of lane phase, is kind of what I'm witnessing. But I feel like BYG are more reliant on stabilization early. But I think Husha's map reads are just like the team's map reads, and I attribute this to Husha because he's always in the right position, right? He plays this really well. Like comparing this to like Inspired or Santorin, this guy is crazy. And this is his first year comp, right? Or in PCS. I don't know. Like, I didn't expect to be this impressed by this guy, I guess. Because I was thinking, okay, young team, they're probably going to be pretty mechanically good. And just went off mechanics. But I actually feel like BYG, except for, you know, kind of how they play the map in mid-game for the most part, are pretty good. They'll lose to teams with better supports and better laning, I think. But I think they'll do well in playing. I don't know how I feel about Clement's assertion that I'll probably do more off-stream VOD review, but I don't know how I feel about Clement's assertion that they're bad in best of fives. I feel like that's not actually accurate. Because I would expect a team with this kind of read to actually do better in BO5s. But we'll see. I do not agree with the assertion that Santorin is a good jungler lately, based on his recent performances that we watch, especially in the TL VOD review. If you're interested in more of the detailed conversations that we had about how Santorin was playing, you can watch that. It is 4 hours though, so Godspeed. Oh. Okay, see, this is also what I like, right? Where even though you, whoa. This is the, okay, we're good. So what I was saying was that I like that J-Show's top, they technically don't have a timer from topside, but they're about to get one. Kennen Fox and Braum walks into jungle. And I can't show this because I don't want to go back to the weird ripple effect that happened. But that is what just happened. Like, Braum got really kind of like aggressive vision. Those were the kinds of things I'm looking for. I do think he is like a bit of a dual player, right? Where he can't quite, like, Kino is a bit of a dual player where he is looking really proactively for these engages and angles and he's looking for them, but he's like over forcing on bad timers. Like, he's trying to, I think he has like this mindset of like cheating timers and bluffing, but a lot of these bluffs did not pay off. Is kind of, oh, nice angle. Okay, yeah. Let's see this again. So Melon looks there. Nice Sonya's after the EQ. Leon gets through the choke though. I feel like Leon shouldn't be able to get through choke. Like, it should be Rakan's job to mark him. But Rakan did not engage on him. Okay, we're actually showing on top wave while Infernal is live. I think this is not PSG's dragon, but they will get it. Okay, we don't care about Drake. Pushing top wave instead. So I'm just trying to think if PSG, and then we have to go back to look at this properly. So when was the cannon recall? I don't know when the cannon recall was because of the replay. Okay. Well, we can reasonably assume it was around 22:15. Or 22:10. So that means you could play super aggro on this window for it. We don't know if Husha recalled it also. Maybe this is a bad angle. Like, he just dropped all words topside. When there's no way PSG is gonna like look to retake top on this window. It just shouldn't happen. So you have two options, right? One is you can like cheat your tempo and go into topside and not recall and look for collapse. Or, okay, you can recall earlier and run straight to Drake because that should be your Drake. So that's why I don't like dropping all of your vision on this window. So now PSG are retaking top, but they should on this timer anyway, so those wards aren't really getting you anything. Like, PSG for sure gonna take... Why is Kennen here? What? His entire team is like cheating into bot side because they just saw them on the top wards. They don't even need to see them on the top wards to know that they will be top side, defensively in jungle. What? I feel like Liang just ruined this map play for them. I'm very upset by this. Liang, you're the reason why this Baron setup is not functional. I didn't say anything about Nuguri. What are we arguing about in chat? They killed Kenny. You bastards. Okay, we did get Bati too. We're all just running and engaging mid. I feel like you don't need all 5 people here. Like, it's better to have someone on bot wave. Because you should crash bot wave around now. You should stay on the map and start prepping top wave. So if you're not going to push bot, someone should stay on the map and start prepping top wave so that you can hard rotate. Instead, they're just wasting the last window of their Baron. Not the most impressive use of Baron. So tomorrow is going to be the play and team power ranking. We won't be doing a proper VOD review. of each individual playing team. We'll just talk about the ones that we think are most interesting. A lot more prep is going into tomorrow than any other day for sure. The other days have been kind of lazy where I just say, oh, Clement, come on my stream and tell me what to watch. So we'll see how well tomorrow goes, given my general level and ability to actually prepare for streams. But I do have a guest tomorrow. So the other thing is, like, the fact that BYG didn't prep this top wave fed directly into this play, right? Because Jace grabbed bot wave really easily on BYG recalling, and then no one fixed top wave, so PSG actually had a wave that was stacking that they could play off of. And them acknowledging that is good. Well, we did look at a Machi Esports game, and we did look at a boom. I think part of the thing here is that, and we'll watch more PSG games. Like, I deliberately chose not to watch the TF game because I want to see specifically how PSG play TF, right? Whereas this game, for me, I chose because I want to see Beyond play more of a kind of flanking front to back style than what they had drafted for in, like, the Rise Jace game. Thank you for the follow, Archer Old Man. Outside pinks. The unified itemization. Oh, look, it's your favorite item combo. Miracle. Yeah, if any of you are curious, like, when I'm going to do or review a specific team, my VOD review schedule is pinned to my Twitter now. So, I actually am organized enough to do that. But for the rest of the week, it's playing teams tomorrow, 100 Thieves on Saturday, and Fnatic on Sunday. I am not organized. Yeah, he asked for a C9 VOD review. Maybe we'll do one for fun at some point. Wouldn't Nar prefer... no, not really. I wouldn't prefer having Nar over Jace because none of these champs do well into range, or that well into range. And Jace should win like 2v2 side with Diana. So if you're able to kind of like have Diana play to Jace side, push out all the way, get a timer, and then stand on mid wave, you poke everyone back. You get mid prio really easily with Jace Varus. You rotate into a neutral, and then you bait them to try to walk in, and you just poke the shit out of them. That's how you should be playing with Jace. If you have a Gnar, you don't have that option at all. You're just fucked. You lose front to back at this point. And you're engaging into an Aphelios cannon. Gnar would suck here. See, like, Gnar doesn't do this. It's poke, but it's also like side prio, right? So now Jace has another timer, which he should be here in time for Baron. Maybe not. So, showing bot. So I'm, like, the thing that's weird for me is the timing at which he can contest this wave. Like, he doesn't have to go bot here because the wave is still gonna push. No one is bot here. The only thing that can happen is maybe you think out of base they're gonna group for bot wave. So he's heading off their ability to make a bot play by getting this wave. But if you're doing that and you see them on this mid wave now, right, this is their window to contest mid wave because they know Jace is showing inside. You also don't need to push this second mid bot wave. Like, you can already be walking up. Varus is going to get this wave. Like, he pushed one extra bot wave, I think was a really big problem. He didn't have enough time to do that. And then if he knows if he's gonna push one extra bot wave, he needs to TP earlier. But they don't really have a super good TP ward. Like, if he's here when they pull the Baron, right? Like, imagine if he's here when they pull the Baron and he's just poking over a wall. They can't do this too easily. Look at low. Renekton has flash. Diana has flash. So you just, after you poke with like Varus Jace, like 2 full rotations, you can even just have them flash over a wall. The biggest problem was he just wasn't here on the correct window. Oh wow. And they still just win the fight. Just because these guys are split. Doggo doesn't get in. Doggo has flash, but he's not gonna flash over the wall here. So, I mean, Husha and I guess Moai going for this is a little wild. They're engaging on 2, but it's like always, yes, they're engaging onto these guys, but unless you're gonna one-shot them, so you need multiple people to flash over the wall here. Like, unless you're gonna one-shot these guys, this side will always rotate faster to you. Like, there's no way that doing your combo and zone using here is going to end well, because they'll always rotate on top of you before the rest of your team can get there. You're not buying time for anything. And then, of course, we flash into the goddamn Aphelios after we get, like, too excited. And we make the same mistake they did. Nice stopwatch from Doggo, though. Jay's discourse so triggering. So we already kind of see, like, I can already see how BYG are gonna win this, right? If you're one rotation late on Jace, people are using, like, Renekton is so, I hate playing Renekton into Aphelios. It's such a miserable experience. Your best bet is to flash on with, like, Rage Bar and W. But yes, stopwatch or GA, it's kind of doomed. Alright, you should flash into Aphelios. You should rotate one wave earlier and poke over the wall. And then you have a window where Renekton and Diana to flash together and kill the rest of your team while they're all low. Like, that was a full HP Aphelios with stopwatch. It's not gonna work out. And it was all, and they, like, flashed over one at a time instead of together. And Diana already used combo on, like, everyone already used their combos too on the rest of the team. That was the thing. I mean, Nara would just die for sure in that situation. Alright, Cophelios loves what Nara wants to do. But this Renekton is full on depressed. It is definitely some conveyor belt feeding from PSG right here. It's okay, it wasn't... I would say this game wasn't, like, too impressive from BYG, other than I just really love... Like, I think their stabilizing plays work so well just because Husha is smart, you know? And has super good map reads. Ah! Well, we're overstaying on the base of it. But I think I do have to dip. Yeah, I just said I hate playing Renekton into Aphelios. I don't like Renekton here either. Like, playing Renekton into Braum Aphelios Cannon is one of the most top 5 most miserable top, I mean, he's not top lane, but, you know, top 5 most miserable Renekton experiences possible. Jace Varus are what actually make this game playable for PSG. Alright, so I think that's it from me. Thanks everyone for coming out. I always appreciate hearing from Clement. Great. I think I called him the inventor of minion waves, but he did the first article in English about the WE slow push. And then there was, he's like coach for 11 Dogs. He's casted in multiple languages. Like he's a really, really kind of, you think about top 5 esports heroes for sure. So glad that he swung by. We will be back tomorrow for the Play-In Team Power Ranking, and we'll have an Emily appearance, most likely, unless she cannot make it. After all, but she said she would, so that'll be fun. Have a good night.